Hello, everyone. Thank you very much to the birthday people. The people who said happy birthday. The people who said happy birthday to me. I am the birthday peoples. I am that kind of person. Oh my goodness. Aging. I can do that. I can definitely do that. Hello, hello. Thank you for the bappy hearthbays and the happy birthdays. Do I get a mortal birthday and a vampire one? I suppose the vampire birthday would be like the channel birthday, which was in March. So I guess I get a happy birthday every 6 months. Brilliant, brilliant. It's not like a half birthday, because that's weird and cringe, and only odd people would do that. It's also not a week-long birthday, but it's about my birthday. Maybe it's a day out. Maybe it's 2 days out. Importantly, people don't know my birthday exactly. I am indeed the peoples. The peoples are here. Hello. Yeah, leveling up. Aging is leveling up. Doesn't feel like you have to do anything to achieve it, though. There's no... oh, you have to pick 700 flowers. And only the yellow flowers. And only the yellow flowers in the front of the village. You have to not die. Okay, that is a good achievement. You only get to have a birthday if you don't die. Excellent. That's what we want. Congratulations to everyone else who hasn't died so far. You're doing great. I'm really impressed with you. What am I going to do with all these flowers? Flower press? I can't think of any other fun things to do with it. Yeah, current objective is to survive. Ah, wonderful. Something about being only as old as you feel. Yeah, I definitely feel a few years younger than I am. Maybe 32 is how old I feel. That's a fine age. Nothing wrong with being 32-ish. That's great. Unlike those people who are in their 20s that need like childminders and supervision constantly. The church-loving vampire. Oh yeah, this is going to be an Adepta Sororitas stream. Lovely. I went off to live on Istvan 5. Istvan 3 got irradiated. Istvan 5 is the setting for the Horus Heresy new box set. I get to live where there's a new box set. Isn't that great? Don't people like new stuff coming out from Games Workshop? Well, it's not Rules that's coming out of Games Workshop at the moment, because we're waiting on Legends for Space Wolves, Emperor's Children's Legends, and generally an instruction that, hey, you know, there's these Imperial armor vehicles, you can use them as Emperor's Children. But I'm expecting that if 11th edition is just a continuation of 10th edition, then all we'll get is just, oh yeah, we don't need to update rules, just continue using the rules that already exist. Lord Piecrust, thank you very much for the 10 monies in, well, 10 British monies and 70 pence. From Canada Land. I appreciate Canada Land. Thank you. Wait, does this Fun 5 get obliterated? I think the planet's still there, isn't it? It just never really had much on it. Otherwise, wouldn't they have just shot it from orbit? I know you need to have the legions down there and not let them get away. And there was a whole thing with... No, Garrow was Istvan 3. That's different. But there's the people who get away from Istvan 5. There's a few of them. Not many of them, but a few. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're also waiting on Deathwatch rules for the new unit that came out in the whole Tomb World. Where are the new Deathwatch rules? Otherwise, we just keep using the Deathwatch rules we already have for the Deathwatch veterans. Maybe they're going to wait until after the Grand Tournament in London and other related things. Maybe. Thank you, Misfit, for saying happy birthday. Thank you. But I can't think of any... Oh yeah, there's like another grand big tournament coming up in a week's time and maybe another one the week after that? Interesting. Celestial Lions are still around. Celestial Lions get mentioned on Armageddon. Yeah. It's the man who plays Centurions. You know, I saw some Centurions in the shop today, and I was like, should I buy them just to stop people from buying those models? Because I could save someone else. Then no one has to buy the Centurions and get hooked on Centurions. I would just have them. The problem then is, I would then have them. And I don't want Centurions. Doing it once was fine, it just confirmed all of my prejudices, so that's okay. Deathwatch Centurions, if you want to use Deathwatch Centurions, you can. I suppose there's a nice idea for a paint scheme. Do you paint the Marine inside in the black armor, and then the war suit in, like, their parent chapter? Or vice versa? That could be an interesting way to do it. Yeah, you could do that. Add a bit of colour to your army. Devastator Centurions are alright. In the Black Spear Task Force, you can teleport them around, get them to different places, because they move really, really slowly. Yeah, it's not the best. Thank you for the people who are turning up for the first time to a stream. Very much welcome. We're seeing Games Workshop fix some of the bad units and detachments. I know there's Centurions. Don't talk about Centurions for now. Don't talk about Centurions. But we're seeing some of them fixed, but only for the high-end competitive events. That and the lack of rules coming out is a little bit worrying to me. Like, there's a lack of Games Workshop rules whiters. We've had no real updates to the bad detachments. We've had delayed detachments that were meant to come out in September. There should have been 3 of them. And then they didn't come out, so they're going to be in December. So in December, don't expect Grotmus version 2, where they give a new detachment to every army. I don't know if that was good or not good. It was alright, it was nice to get it, and we got the Deathwatch Index, which was something people wanted. People being me. I am people. Would confirming all your prejudices work as a band name? Yeah, I like that. I like that. Thank you for the birthday messages. Yeah, Penitent Host. Penitent Host could use some help. But it's not getting help, because as long as the sisters are doing alright with the Hallowed Martyrs and the Champions of Faith, it's all good. We'll just leave it, says Games Workshop. Is it because they don't have the staff, or is it because they don't care? It can be both. There's no reason it's not both. Oh, if it is your first stream, you could press 1 in the chat to let me know. If you have never seen anything at all, and you just happen to one day into a birthday party, press 0 in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. An end of edition campaign with a new model for each army? Ooh, I don't think there'll be a new model for every army. I think it's going to be... I don't even know about new models, because we've got the Space Marine stuff just coming out now. This is Space Marine Wave 2 of 10th edition. Before we get 11th edition, and there'll be more Space Marines that come out new. Okay, quite a few people first time seeing me stream. Very good. I'll try and make it a good one for content, but what I normally do is talk quite a bit for like 20 minutes at the start, maybe 25, and then we'll move on properly to the different units, and we'll see, with some speed, how we go through them. New detachment each could work. I know, with the option potentially for Grotmus 2. But they may just do, hey, here's 6 new detachments around the time of the balance patch. Then throughout the year, everyone has got a new detachment. They might just do catch-up, essentially. And then we'll see Genestealer Cult, Adepta Sororitas, maybe not Demons and maybe not Deathwatch because they exist only on Index. 6 new detachments for the Loyalist Space Marines. Oh yeah, they're coming out regardless. But also, very slowly. Thank you, Zaz Shadow. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, we also need to release several more Lieutenants, but those Lieutenants could be in 11th edition. We don't need a Centurion Lieutenant, but if we had Centurion in Gravis Armor, no, Lieutenant in Gravis Armor, that could work. Yeah. Yes, tier list will be coming. What else we got? Yeah, I mean, I should mention the rules changes that have happened, because they have happened since the last time we did a tier list like this, including since the last time I did a tier list with Auspex Tactics on his channel. It has been quite a week for collabing, as I've done, was it Wednesday? Was that only this Wednesday? Wow, this has been maybe a long week. Yeah. Yeah, so I've done the collab with Auspex Tactics, then I did the video, well, the video with Paul came out. Oh yeah, okay. I'll have to do more collabs, obviously. A mere two collabs. I know people like the one with Paul. I get on with Paul very well. He's doing okay at the London Grand Tournament. From the messages he sent me, he was 1 victory against Adepta Sororitas and 2 losses yesterday. And I think they'll be ongoing and close to wrapping up today. And then there's a little ceremony. And then they have to do a whole, okay, the people who won 5 games, if you want to stick around, then why don't we go and play a shadow round tonight? And that game finishes at 11 PM. And then tomorrow, the final, 8 people, 16 people, get to play 2 more games. And then you can get crowned the winner of the tournament. I'd be happy with 5 games. And that's it. That's a long enough time already. And even then, if I was at the London Grand Tournament, then I would probably stay 3 days anyway, just because otherwise I'm entirely exhausted after, like, the Sunday, and then travelling back. Thank you, Summer, for the happy birthday messages. Thank you. I don't go to that many tournaments run by Games Workshop. Part of the reason being I have a lot of proxy models from other game systems. Like, I have Robotech models, I use War Machine models, I have Conflict 47 models, all of them in my armies. And it's obvious what they are, but they're very much not Games Workshop models. So any tournament that is supervised in any way by Games Workshop, then I get told it's wrong and not okay. Non-Games Workshop models, that's so evil and bad. Yeah, well, that's because I'm a wargamer, not necessarily a Games Workshop person. Like, I will take models from lots of places and play 40k. Other people will take 40k models and then try and apply them to a different game system, like one-page rules. I'm either doing it correctly or backwards. Loved how Paul made your PNG tuber persona in that battle report. That was just me. I was controlling it then. I was doing that. That was how I was operating that, and then he was recording my microphone, so it didn't work so well. On my channel, the version with my channel, you can see it's the same movements, just I'm bigger, and also the audio on my end is better. It's fun. Fun. C.R. Smith. Mr. Von Carmian, do you have any tips for mass recoloring of models? I'm changing my homebrew marines and I've about 200 left. Doing it quickly, you could try paint stripping them all. You could try just spraying over them in like white or black and then adding the new colors. Because if they're going to be red and black, spraying them all black again can work, and then just fill in the grooves. Oh, yeah, you also did like, Paul did a nice artwork thing of me. That was fun. I do like Paul's artwork. It's interesting. It's interesting. Super Ray Ray, thank you for the money. 3D printed heads and bases on your sisters. Oh, well, that's fine. That's great. Little bit of alternate heads. They seem to be fine with that. One of the big Battle Sister players, name escapes me. I've talked about him a few times on the channel before. He plays Hallowed Martyrs. He's been playing Hallowed Martyrs basically the same army this entire edition. He has Catgirl heads on his Paragon Warsuits for his Battle Sisters. And they seem fine with that. But when you're using entirely other game system models, then Games Workshop's less okay with that. And can you imagine like a Genestealer cult army, but I have no Ridge Runners and no trucks? That might be a bit more difficult to play at a tournament. Or I could play like Imperial Agents, because I'm sure between all of the armies I have, there's enough Games Workshop models there to make it work. That's fine. That's fun. The collab with Auspex Tactics was a bit different, because we were both there together in the same room, virtually. He's looking at me as you are looking at me. I am looking at a logo of him. We're talking. We're recording things together. It's just that it was he records his audio, I record my audio, and then they go together afterwards. So it sounds like we're just responding to one another and we're not in the same place. But we were in the same place and talking. Yeah. It was a different way of doing collabs. There's many different ways you can do collabs. I mean, you could, in theory, like, alternate between two people and cut between different videos. That's another way to do it. Repainting the main body and adding the contrast. Mm-hmm. Oh, people say the Emperor's Children. Oh, isn't it awful when they misgender your Space Marines and call them another Legion or Chapter? Misfit having novitiates with catgirl heads so that the novitiate leader is a cat herder. Yeah, great. Yeah. Go herd cats. Absolutely. So speaking of the Battle Sisters, I've looked at the various changes that have happened to the rules and the points. The Retributors have a rules change. We'll talk about that when we get to the Retributors. Okay, statistician, thank you for the money. Revan, thank you for the money. Yeah, I am that vampire that plays Centurions now. Not necessarily an accurate description of me, but I'll take it. Thank you for the money. If anyone else wants to give money and have it pop up and fill the bar at the top, in the description, it's the top link, which tells you this is to tip birthday money. Thank you very much. Shouldn't tempt me to do an entire Catgirl squad. Well, you can get them in squads of 10. I never said you played them willingly. You are very correct there. What I could have done was storm out and be mad, but I was already there. I'd already scheduled it. There was a game going on. Might as well play with Paul. Am I using the money to buy Centurions? It has been a thought today when I saw some Centurions in the shop that I could buy the Centurions just to stop other people, unfortunately, buying the Centurions and getting addicted. If anything, I would be a hero. The problem is I would have a box of Centurions. If I had to build a Genestealer Cult anti-Centurion list, what would it be? Well, Abominants, because they have high damage power weapons, d6+1, that can be 4 damage. There's not a lot of other things that are 4 damage. We're relying on like mining lasers. You can only get to damage 3 on the Patriarch unless you're playing Crusade. Thank you, Slider By. I'll give you some more support to the Genestealer Cult in the future. It is very much coming. That is a very nice amount of money to tip. Thank you so very much. Got a Defiler for the World Eaters. Are World Eaters allowed to have Defilers? I can't remember if that's in their army list. Oh no! Buy the Centurions and give them to Paul to make him play the maximum 36. You know, I think he'll just get there anyway. Use them as dead bases? Yeah, that's an option. Could do it that way. But I'd keep thinking, maybe I could use them in some way. Oh, I could have them proxied as Gravis armor. There we go. That's what I could do with them. I'm not going to buy them, though. No Centurions for me. Thank you, I'm very good. Right, changes to the Adepta Sororitas. The Retributor change we'll mention when we get to the Retributors. Points drops, there are a few. Astrid and Agatha, a bit cheaper. Didn't expect that. I think they're perfectly fine at like 85 points. 70 points is very nice. 10 points off St. Celestine won't really change much about her, but it's useful. It's a good change to have. The Retributor's coming down 10 points from 115 points on Powered Dominions to 105 on Powered Battle Sisters. That is more important. That is a better price. And the final one is weird. The Imagifier. It's listed as being down 10 points, but it's still listed at 65 points, including in the app. Now, last time they did a balance update, which was just over 3 months ago, when they updated the Repentia, they said, oh yeah, Repentia also a bit cheaper. Then it didn't actually show them any cheaper. It showed the same thing. It was like minus some points. However, it's the same points as last time. A few weeks later, like the next time they updated the points because there was a codex released, then they changed that points. Then it was, okay, yeah, we've now got the correct points for Repentia as being 10 points cheaper than they were. I assume the same thing has happened. The same mistake has been made. So although the Imagifier is still listed as 65 points and officially is 65 points, it being 55 points is a much better price for an Imagifier. That is 5 points more than the Hospitaller. So in this video, I will talk about the Imagifier as if they were 55 points, as I expect when... Have we had Votan points already? I think we have. So maybe when we get the Dark Eldar points, the Drukhari points, then we'll see suddenly, oh yeah, the Imagifier, that's 55 points, yeah. And the Emperor's Children do need their Legends and Imperial Armor stuff. The way they do allies is just so inconsistent. So inconsistent. Tony Loaf, thank you for the 10 monies. Thanks for being my go-to for Sisters resources. You are most welcome. Thank you for the money. Emperor's Children Thunderhawk. It's a thought. It's definitely a thought. Okay. Ooh. Here we have a tier list. So we have 4 different tiers, as well as a bunch of just in waiting. A tier. This is a great choice. It doesn't really matter which detachment you're playing. This is a unit you want in your army. When it comes to where we place them in tiers, some of them I'll ask you and we'll do a poll on the YouTube community, the sidebar. There'll be voting options there. Otherwise, I'll just say I'm very certain it is in this particular position. So A tier is great in all detachments. I encourage you to have them in your army. B tier is a very good unit, but other units can do the same job better or the same job but cheaper. C tier units have one detachment where they work, and not really anywhere else. And the D tier ones, they struggle to get a points appropriate use for them. These are not great units. You can have fun with them, you could include them in your army, but you're not going to get the best options out of them. There are so many other things that do so much better. This is where I'm putting the Dogmata. In my battle report 2 weeks ago? I guess, yeah, it's about 2 weeks ago now, where the Dogmata did something that was kind of a one-off. That was very unusual. It's rare to get the best out of them. So there we go. So they go in D tier. Will we ever get Sister Snipers? It's a nice idea. I do like that. Thinking about getting into Sisters, do I still stand by the 4 ways to start collecting Sisters? Nothing's really changed since then. That was with the various combat patrols of the Sisters. There's been no big boxes released since then. There's been no major unit changes. So that's still a good video to get into Sisters. Have a unit, have a character, get a big box if you like, and go from there. Thank you, Jeff, for the birthday messages. Lovely. 6 Immolators and 3 Dominion squads should be the core of every Sisters of Battle list. It is in some detachments. Hallowed Martyrs likes that because Hallowed Martyrs likes to have quite a few units. No, Hallowed Martyrs likes to have bigger units. Bigger units can be better for Hallowed Martyrs and the Champions of Faith, but it depends what you're going for. I think Dominions being together as 10 works pretty well. There's quite a few units that you want to split. Dominions are one of them. Let's start with Dominions, since I'm talking about Dominions. Where are Dominions? We have 2 that look like Battle Sisters. So, if we say... There we are. Those are Dominions. Right. We'll pop the Dominions up there. The thing with Dominions, they do very well when split by an Immolator. Because then you have 5 sisters, one of which has the Simulacrum, and they will stay on your home objective. Just to be there. They can control it if you can score mission points from it. If not, it's also useful to have it to exclude various other units from deep striking near to it. Carrie, my girlfriend got into the hobby and chose Sororitas mostly for the fleur-de-lis everywhere. I'll use your videos to help her learn the game. Thank you very much, Carrie. I think that she'll have a great time with that. Good. Good. Can't have sisters without some holy fire. Dominions have flamers. That definitely works. The Simulacrum's there to generate miracle dice. And if you needed to, the Dominions can scout. Even if you split them with an Immolator, that's 2 different units that can scout. And if they're in an Immolator, the Immolator can scout. That can be enough to get you into cover so you're out of line of sight, so you can deploy it in the open. If you go first, then you can scout forward and then move forward, and you can control the center from the start. Now, optional. It's always optional to actually use these rules. You don't have to scout. Scouting is there as one thing you can do. You can have them hidden, you can move them forward. You also have the reactive move. These are very speedy sisters. They have assault on all of the guns except the superior guns, so the bolters, storm bolters, flamers, and melters. You can move and advance. Remember, you can use miracle dice on the advance. If that's going to get you into like melter range, the 6-inch melter range, or in the Bringers of Flame, get you within 6 inches to use that detachment rule, do that. High miracle dice can be used for that. You have a cherub. You can get a new one. You get a new miracle dice when you use a miracle dice on the unit. Reactive move can get you out of problems. Enemies are coming close, you move away. Enemies are coming close, you move onto an objective and have more bodies there. If they want to shoot you, they're going to have to shoot a lot of you to get through you. Lone Wolf Gamer, thank you. Happy anniversary to your existence. What is the Sisters unit role that you would want to see or is missing from the army? We have quite a few lone operatives, but they're specific special characters. We could have a generic saint. We could have snipers. A Battle Sister sniper team, one which prays for the shot to hit, the other one fires the gun. That's what I like. Otherwise, I think we're pretty well served. There's enough units that's like, yes, this is enough of a distinct flavor. We don't need more things necessarily. I've never been a fan of the idea of cavalry sisters or sisters on bikes. I don't think we need them because we have Seraphim. Those are our fast-moving shooter unit. Regular battle sisters with chainswords? Sounds good. They should have a unit called Celestines that have them. Or Drop Cathedral. Drop Cathedral also works. Right, what else are we doing with the Dominions? Oh yes, reactive move. If there's a transport nearby, you can reactive move into the transport. A reactive move is a normal move. If all of the models in your unit end a normal move within 3 inches of a transport, you can embark in the transport. Lots of different weapons you can have. Flamers, good for clearing lots of enemy infantry. Not necessarily needed because we have a lot of anti-infantry guns everywhere. Battle Sister bolt guns, Dominion bolt guns will work for that. It's useful for Overwatch, but there are other units that can Overwatch a bit better. The Sanctifiers now exist, they have more flamers, they can do a better Overwatch. Melter guns are probably what you want to go for. That's where we need something that can get through enemy armor. Even light vehicles, even heavy infantry, we will struggle against unless you use melter guns. So you almost always want melter guns. It is a nice idea to have storm bolters. Because you can scout, you can get very close to enemy infiltrators. A lot of enemy infiltrators are 2 wounds. Pure Strain Gene Stealers, Space Marine Scouts, Tau Stealth Suits. Poxwalkers have a feel no pain, but if you have damage 2, you get through those Poxwalkers much quicker. So having Storm Bolters, really good idea. And paired with Astra and Agatha, that's where you can have more shots, 4 shots per Storm Bolter at damage 2. If you can make them devastating wounds, that's a lot of mortal wounds coming at the enemy. So let's talk about Astrid Nagatha. Where are we on the list? Astrid Nagatha. You somewhere near the bottom, Astrid Nagatha? Did you disappear? There you are. Astrid Nagatha. Let's put you in B tier. B tier is where we had them last time. So we like Devastating Wounds, something we can do with Dominions. You would lose Scout, but you're also gaining a lot from it. There's 2 special rules, or like 3 special rules. If you kill an enemy unit, you get a miracle dice. If Agatha dies, you get some miracle dice. If you're in the Hallowed Martyrs, you can bring her back. There's no limitation on only non-epic heroes. You can bring her back, she dies again, you get even more miracle dice. And yes, we get Devastating Wounds. I've tried it with Sacrosants. Sacrosants is very nice. Damage 2 on the mauls. And then you have the Champions of Faith. Champions of Faith is a good detachment for the Sacrosants. You can increase your AP, you can increase your strength, and you can have a lot of attacks. They have better weapon skill as well. That's more successful hits. If you have more successful hits, you can get more successful wounds just by more dice. Damage 2. More mortal wounds. It goes through the enemy armor. You don't need the extra AP, which is something that the mauls generally lack. They're AP -1. This works okay. The problem is, it relies on rolling 6s. As a tactic, oh, I'm sure I'll roll a 6 and everything will be fine. Not necessarily the best idea. The dice be fickle. The sister with the Eldar character, that is the Demonifuge. That's Ephriel Stern. I know that you can change 1 miracle dice into a 6. You could put Astrid Nagatha with a Dialogus in a Battle Sister squad. That's the only place you can have 2 characters, or 2 character units, because I know Astrid Nagatha has a pair, but you can double up with another unit, another character. I am saying that right, because it is allowed for them. Let me check Astrid Nagatha, just in case. I wouldn't want to tell you something incorrect. That's going to take a while to load. Assume I'm correct for now. Unless you hear differently in a second. Astrid Nagatha with Retributors with Heavy Bolters. We do get rerolls of hit rolls for 1 with Retributors, but it's not many Heavy Bolters. That's 3, 6, 9, 12 times 2, 24 possible devastating wounds. Although you have sustained hits as well. Okay, Heavy Bolters aren't awful. We will get to the Retributors. You're going to get a lot more shots with the Dominions. You get all the bolt guns. You get the weapon that the Superior has, which can be a hand flamer. That's a lot more shots. Astrid Nagatha with Retributors and Heavy Flamers. I mean, yeah, again, you're re-rolling wound rolls of 1, but that's not that many 6s. Remember how many 6s you need to get to wound, and those are damage 1 Heavy Flamers. And it doesn't matter about their better strength and their AP and their ignore cover, you're rolling 6s. That's going to get through the enemy's armor. That's how devastating wounds work. So I wouldn't say with Retributors, definitely not Heavy Flamers, maybe with Heavy Bolters, but you're getting very expensive. I would stick with Dominions. Could potentially do it with Multi-Melters, having a lot of Multi-Melters. If you have a Miracle Dice of a 6, oh look at that, that's D6 Mortal Wounds. Devastating Wounds, pretty much the same thing. And if you were in the Army of Faith, another die could become the damage roll. So if you need to do a specific number of damage to the enemy, you can. However, Multi-Melters AP -4, the only thing you're not getting through are units that have an invulnerable save. AP -4 is going to just wreck things otherwise. Can be attached to Battle Sisters, Dialogus. Yes, you can double up in a Battle Sister squad with Astrid Nagatha and a Dialogus. So then you can automatically have a Miracle Dice become a 6. It's an idea. to have her with a Battle Sister squad. Thank you, Reynard. Okay. We'll do the Retributors next, and then I will talk about the Retributors with the Dialogus option. So we'll do that next. Right, any other things for Astra and Agatha? You can have them work with Battle Sisters. You can have them work with Retributors. I think Dominions or Battle Sisters is the way to go. That's what I suggest. The problem is, are you getting just enough points out of them? Now, they had a points drop. The points drop is good. They're now 70 points rather than 85 points, so much more includable. Remember how expensive Retributors are. Remember they're 105 points for 5 Sisters. That's the same as 10 Battle Sisters, or for 10 points more you're getting 10 Dominions with a lot of Stormbolters or with Melter Guns. Then you maybe do... yeah, ooh, it's difficult. It's difficult. If they were with Dominions, I would say Stormbolters. If they're with Battle Sisters, I would say you could have a Stormbolter and also a Multi-Melter. Use a Miracle Dice to get that successful 6, which is Devastating Wounds. There's D6 Devastating Wounds. This doesn't spill over because it's not Mortal Wounds, so you're still only going to kill one model at most. The exception being if you're in the Army of Faith, and then you can use 2 Miracle Dice on a model, and then you could make both of the wound rolls a 6 if you also had a Dialogus in the squad. The Dialogus is a unit that makes the unit work really well, any unit, in the Army of Faith, as long as you have the Miracle Dice. And often it seems the Hallowed Martyrs has more Miracle Dice. Can they join Celestians? Yes, yes they can. They can join Celestians. Ooh, having big Death Star blocks. Not necessarily. It very much depends where you are. Big blocks can work. Lots of small units can also work. Eldar players especially, and Battle Sister players, the more small units you have, you can go out into the objectives, complete an action with half a squad. The squad will die, we get a Miracle Dice. Next turn, we go out again with another half squad, and we keep alternating, like, let's say trading units like it's chess, as long as we can keep ahead of the enemy and take those objectives in the middle. That's what the Battle Sisters are doing, that's what the Dominions are doing, that's what the Imagifiers are for. A little bit of protection, that's what the Immolators are for. So you can have a big, super powerful thing with the Battle Sisters. But a lot of small units will want to support that. Okay, I think I'm sticking Astra and Agatha in B. They are a good unit. They're not necessarily the best unit. What else do we say for B tier? Yeah, other units can do a similar job. If you had Dominions or Battle Sisters or Sacrosants without Astra and Agatha, you will be fine regardless. So, let's move on to the Retributors. These have had a little bit of change. So, Retributors, I'm much happy with them now. Let's put them in D tier is where they were last time we did this tier list. So, their unit rule, it changed in the previous balance patch. You can reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1 all of the time. If you are avenging a unit, so if an enemy unit has destroyed one of your Adepta Sororitas units, and I think it does have to be Adepta Sororitas, so it won't work if they have destroyed like an allied armager. Retributor squad. Yes, it has to be a Battle Sister squad. Or Battle Sister unit, Adepta Sororitas unit. Then you get +1 to hit and wound. In the most recent balance patch, it went from you get one or the other to you get both. So if you're avenging one of your sister's units, which is something that you do when you're putting a unit on an objective and it dies and then you want to shoot that unit, then you're getting reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1 and you're getting +1 to hit and wound. So your multi-melters are hitting on a 3+, and they're wounding on probably a 2+, maybe a 3+, at worst on a 4+. And you're rerolling wound rolls of 1. This is very good. Heavy bolters will get to reroll hit rolls of 1. Maybe you get more 6s. Those are sustained hits. You getting +1 to wound. You going from wounding the average Chaos Space Marine from wounding them on a 3 to wounding them on a 2. That's great. Retributors are very useful for taking out biggish vehicles. The multi-melters are strength 9. That is not the best. Average tank is toughness 9, like a weakish tank. I mean, not so weak like an Orc Truck or Dark Eldar Raider. But other things like a Rhino, those are toughness 9. Any kind of battle tank, any kind of like Demon Prince, those are toughness 10. So you're wounding them on 5s normally. So if they've hurt you in some way, you can get some retribution. Thank you for the birthday messages. Thank you. You can't have Repentia and Astra and Agatha. No, that's not a combo that's allowed. No one can join Repentia, other than Palatine, Ministorum Priest, or Canoness in the Penitent Host with an enhancement. Right. At 105 points, Retributors are back down to an acceptable points level. I think they're finally good again. It was like April 2024 when they were last good. That was the index, they were 105 points, then they worked. This is with a better unit rule, and at 105 points, now they can operate. Don't send them in as a first strike, because you're not going to have that +1 to hit and +1 to wound. So don't rush forward with an Immolator, jump out with a Dialogus and shoot something. It's not going to work as well as if you let the enemy kill one of your units on an objective, then you counterattack. Move the unit out of cover and shoot, or have them in a rapid response Immolator or a Rhino, zoom that to where it needs to be, then get out. You can disembark and shoot, you just can't disembark and charge, and then you're getting the +1 to hit and wound. That's much better. That gives you 3 different ways to get the +1 to hit in the Hallowed Martyrs attachment. You have Heavy, that's a key word. You stayed still, you get +1 to hit. You have Avenging a unit, that's +1 to hit. In the Hallowed Martyrs, if you've lost a model, the Superior, just take the Superior off, then your unit also has +1 to hit. These do not all stack, so you don't go from hitting on a 4+ down to hitting on a 2+. The most you can get is +1, but if the enemy had Stealth, which is -1 to hit, overall, you can get to +1 to hit. Unfortunately, Retributors are very fragile at toughness 3. They are 21 points per model, and that is considered an acceptable number. It's still a lot of points. Then you're wanting to add Astra and Agatha? I wouldn't. But if you're wanting to add a Rhino, you're getting much closer to more heavy hitting units. You're getting closer to Paragon Warsuit units points. In the Bringers of Flame, they are very useful because you have them pop out of a transport very close. They're getting +1 to wound regardless. No, +1 strength. It's different. It's +1 strength. That's right. Bringers of Flame gives you +1 strength from the detachment rule. That's different to +1 to wound. So your strength 9 multi-melters go to strength 10. They would be wounding on a 4+ normally. Then with the +1 to wound, now you're wounding on a 3+. That stacks. That does stack. So they are now operating okay in most detachments. In the Penitent Host, as soon as the enemy has killed some Arco-flagellants that you threw at them that they had to fight, then you get to shoot the enemy better. If you can use Miracle Dice in the Army of Faith to keep your army working. You can use Miracle Dice anywhere. There's no reason why not. But you can use more Miracle Dice if you wanted in the Army of Faith. Hallowed Martyrs, there's nothing especially good for them. There is Shoot Back. If the Retributors get shot, then in the Hallowed Martyrs we have Praise the Fallen. The problem is how many models are you going to lose and how many are then going to shoot back? Because you've got 5 sisters, you can't increase that unit size. It's normal shooting, so you'll get your reroll hit rolls of 1. It's not Overwatch. That can work. The Rhino is probably the cheapest tank you want to take them in. Don't put them in an Immolator. Please don't put them in an Immolator. The purpose of an Immolator is to split Novitiates, or Battle Sisters, or Dominions. Thank you, Thorscape. Cakeman von Caramel. Thank you very much. Thank you, Thomas, for the birthday thank yous. Thank you, thank you. Right. They work. Bringers of Flame is where they work best. Bringers of Flame is still a viable detachment. You can absolutely use the Bringers of Flame. Retributors work well there. Jump out of a Rhino. You could have 2 units in a Rhino. Then you also get other stratagems that are available. So you're not shooting back, but you do have things like... well, there's Cleansing Flames. That's 2 command points to have a torrent weapon cause devastating wounds. I wouldn't have Heavy Flamers. I would stick with the Multi-Melters. And I know we're saying, ooh, what about Heavy Bolters? Yeah, maybe. But compare the points of Retributors to, say, Mortifiers, to a Castigator. You get 3 Heavy Bolters on a Castigator. You get 2 Heavy Bolters per Mortifier. The points are not too different. And those units can do a lot more things as well as just being Heavy Bolters. And they don't die as easily. So I would stick with Multi-Melters. Unfortunately, the box set only comes with 2 Multi-Melters within it. However, by swapping out some barrel nozzles on the Flamers, the Heavy Flamers, with the spare melter guns you get in the Dominion/Battle Sister box, you have Multi-Melters there. Right, in the Bringers of Flame, the stratagem I was thinking of... Blazing Ire? Yeah, it's 2 command points. Your transport gets shot, your unit gets out of the transport and shoots. Very useful, and you get Assault in the Bringers of Flame detachment, so you can move much quicker. And then potentially get within that 6 inches. I know it's 6 inches, it sucks that it's 6 inches. Otherwise, we have a detachment that just solved so many of our problems. The Bringers of Flame was great, because +1 strength is what we need. It brings the Melter Guns up to strength 10. It brings the Flamers up to strength 6, and the Bolters up to strength 5. It was really good for a shooting army. And then you barely need to worry about combat. Don't bother with Sacrosants or Repentia or Arco-flagellants, just the guns. So the Retributors work in several detachments. I would say several. They do especially well in the Bringers of Flame. They do quite well in the Hallowed Martyrs. They can do okay in other detachments. So because they work in more than one detachment, I'm willing to put them in B tier. I still think if you're thinking of a basic unit you want, I would go for Dominions. I would go for Battle Sisters before picking the Retributors. But Retributors are good. Now, what about Retributors with the Dialogus? It's pretty cheap in terms of adding a character. You're now 145 points. Yes, you can change the Miracle Dice to a 6. So if we're using Heavy Bolters, that is a successful sustained hit. Now you're getting 2 hits. If it was Flamers, which we shouldn't be using, well, you have a successful wound. Multi-Melters is what you want to use, maybe on a hit roll, or if you're going to have difficulty wounding the enemy, on a wound roll. Or better yet, on a damage roll. I would save it for the damage roll. And then you're getting 6 damage plus 2 from Melter, that's 8 damage. Doing that on Overwatch is also an option. Multi-Melters, you guarantee at least 1 successful hit because you use your Miracle Dice to hit with a 6. Great. Maybe in the 2, 4, 6, 7 other shots, you might get 1 more successful hit. Okay, you've got 2 of them. Say only 1 wounds, it should go through the enemy save. Then you have to roll randomly for damage. But if you're in the Army of Faith, you can do 2 acts of faith per unit per phase. That includes the enemy's movement phase or the enemy charge phase. Then you can spend another Miracle Dice, which automatically changes to a 6 because of the Dialogus. Now you're doing 6 plus 2 damage. That's enough to kill a Carnifex. Just Carnifex running at you, blam, Multi-Melter, it dies. You can't do that on Space Marine 2. You're dropping a second Paragon squad in Champions of Faith and putting 2 squads of Retributors. Okay, are they going to have a Rhino? I would maybe think about having a Rhino. Hope they have a Rhino. Think it's going to be awesome? Great. Let me know how it goes. I think in Champions of Faith, I'd maybe keep the second Paragon Warsuit unit. Right, since we're talking about the Dialogus, let's do the Dialogus. Where is Dialogus? Chat, help me find the Dialogus. There you are. You're on the right. Okay, Dialogus. Now, last time we did this, we put the Dialogus, I think, in B tier. The Dialogus is Leadership 6+. Every other Battle Sister unit, apart from some of the characters, are Leadership 7+. That one extra leadership is important. 7 and 8 are average rolls. 6 is a good roll. That's, you know, above average. You also get the option to undo Battle Shock. That's not something you can use for primary mission objective things with, say, okay, we're going to score at the end of the command phase. You can only use the undo Battle Shock. I think it's at the start of any phase. Dialogus, Loudhailer. Yeah, start of any phase. But that means you could have a unit that was battle shocked, suddenly not be battle shocked, and now they can complete a secondary mission, like an action. Or if it's your final turn, your turn 5. Oh, my unit is battle shocked. Undo the battle shock. If you're going second, you score at the end of your turn. You're not battle shocked, you can hold an objective. It's an overlooked ability. It's a very useful ability. I'm not saying it's like the game-winning reason to take the Dialogus. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for the money. But it is an ability you want to use. Thank you, Super Ray Ray. Nerdy girl with glasses. My beloved. Oh, yeah, the original model, the metal model. Yeah, very obvious big spectacles. Big shouty face as well. I wasn't a fan of the big shouty face. But yeah, you'd have a Dialogus in your, like, command squad for the Canoness. Right, so we have better leadership. Leadership 6+. They have an invulnerable save. You could have them operate alone if you really wanted, if you just needed a unit. Crusaders would be better, but if you're not allowed Legends units for whatever reason, then for the same points, you can have a Dialogus. What else we got? Yeah, Miracle Dice. Miracle Dice are a really big thing for the Battle Sisters. The Adepta Sororitas, generally, it's the army rule. You are familiar with the army rule. Imperial Agents don't have an army rule. Oh boy, they sure wish they did. If we roll badly on our Miracle Dice, it certainly feels like we don't have an army rule. But the Dialogus can make the army rule work. Once per phase? Is it only per phase? Oh no, just whenever you, it's whenever you use an Act of Faith. So, in most attachments, you spend a 1. Oh, that was a terrible Miracle Dice. Well, actually, now it's a 6. So that can be used on so many different things. Oh, we'll just pass a leadership test. Leadership 6? Miracle Dice? It becomes a 6? We've guaranteed a successful pass leadership. You've got advance rolls. It becomes a 6. You've got charge rolls. So you can put them with Sacrosants. You are going to charge 6 inches. At least 6 inches plus D6. Now you've got a 7 to 12 inch charge rather than a 2 to 12 inch charge. 7 is no longer an average. It is a guarantee. And it really boosts the Army of Faith because every Miracle Dice becomes a 6. So when you're doing that twice per unit, per phase, then you are just passing armor saves. We have an invulnerable save of 6+ on Battle Sisters, on all of our units now. They are guaranteed to be successful. The enemy can be AP -6. You will pass the save. The Army of Faith is very good for endurance in the later turns of the game, if you can last that long. It's also pretty good for dealing out additional AP and lands. I like the Army of Faith. I know a lot of people don't do too well with it competitively, but it's the detachment that speaks to me the most. It has been since the Codex came out. When other people were like, ooh, Penitent Host, ooh, Brings of Flame, I was an Army of the Faith kind of person. Army of Faith is where the Dialogus does well. And yep, oh look, it's Overwatch. We'll just have 2 Miracle Dice go into the squad's multi-melter. Those are successful hits. If there was a Palatine in the same Battle Sister squad, those are lethal hits. It's a successful hit roll of a 6. It auto wounds. We go straight through to damage. AP -4 goes through the enemy save. You roll damage. Either 2 random damage, like 2d6 random damage, 1d6 and then another d6, or you can do 1 Miracle Dice to make it a successful hit with Overwatch, and then spend the other Act of Faith on the damage roll. So, do we want to say A tier or B tier? Will there be any Imperial Agents for the Sisters of Battle in this tier list? No, we'll not do Imperial Agent stuff. Generally, there's a few good units. Armigers are pretty good. I know they're not Imperial Agents. Big Knights are pretty good to give us some actual anti-tank. I will, as soon as the Knights Codex is out, I will do a new Allies video advising you what are good units to take as allies for the Battle Sisters. So that is the ones that are good from that book, the Imperial Knights book, and also the Imperial Agents book. Right, what was I doing? I'm doing a poll. Start a poll. Dialogus. Do we think A tier or B tier? Now, A tier would be, oh yeah, this is just generally really, really worth it. B tier is more, there are other good unit characters, pairings you want. Like, okay, maybe you want a Canoness instead. Maybe you want a Palatine instead. Other than in Battle Sisters, you can only have one character in the unit. Just hit 1500 points for your Champions of Faith. Nice. I like playing 1500 point games. Celestine Sacrosant your favorite unit? Maybe in that detachment. Maybe. They're not my favorite unit. I just like Battle Sisters. Plain old Battle Sisters. Dominions are good. I like them too. Looks like with a 2-to-1, I think we're pretty settled on B tier. Alright. B tier it is. Every time you use a knight with your sisters, it gets instantly killed. No idea how to use it. It's a whole different figuring out how to use it itself. Not exposing it too soon, even though it has a big gun. Whatever kind of big gun it is, don't just send it out into the open and assume it's going to survive. They have more wounds, but their toughness and their save is not as good as it was in the index. Like the early index. Oh yeah, the Exorcist. That's a good choice. Let's do the Exorcist. Right, Exorcist. I need to find it on the tier list. Oh, of course it's at the top. Okay. The Exorcist. I really like having an Exorcist. The Exorcist has indirect fire. That is very, very useful. What I can do is take out like half of the enemies on a home objective. So if the enemy has 5, I don't know, Chaos Legionaries on their home objective, the Exorcist might be able to take out 3 of them. And then I send in Seraphim, who clean up the rest, and then seize the objective from the enemy. It's very, very good at taking out heavy infantry. I know that the missiles are strength 10, like, oh, okay, you can wound a lot of different enemy vehicles on a 4+. You may not be able to. That's wounding on a 4+, after you're hitting probably on a 4+. And you get d6 plus 2 shots? It's not ideal. But if you're taking out heavy infantry, like Chaos Chosen, 3 wounds, no invulnerable save, you're hitting them with AP -3, they're not really getting a save, they're probably going to die very quickly. You can knock out a whole load of Chosen very quickly, and then they're dead, and that's great. You also cause Battle Shock, which I forget, but it is something that's quite useful to do, occasionally. Like, oh, well, I was going to cleanse this objective. Oh, maybe the enemy will fail their Battle Shock test if I don't kill them with the Exorcist missile launcher. You get d6 plus 2 shots. That's between 3 and 8 shots. It's okay. It's okay. We really suffer from the indirect fire penalties. I would still recommend firing indirectly. That means your Exorcist can stay on your home objective. Your Dominions might also be there, but it's a backup unit. Because there are other indirect fire things, like mortars, like basilisks. They can take out 5 Dominions, they can't so much take out an Exorcist. Then you'll still control your home objective if you haven't had Battle Sisters sticky it with their Defenders of the Faith ability. The small conflagration rockets are useful for killing enemy hordes. We do not struggle with hordes. Chaos cults are our basic bread and easy to eat food. That's what they are. so we don't need to worry about having more weapons to take out them. But having a Exorcist missile launcher take out like 4 Sisters of Silence indirectly, great. That can knock the enemy off an objective. Take out their big vehicles, or their medium vehicles, or their light vehicles. Crack open rhinos and the like very early on. It's a good tank profile. If your Exorcist was damaged, then in the Hallowed Martyrs, you're getting +1 to hit. That's useful. In the Army of Faith, it's good for having 2 miracle dice on the damage. If you can get enough and good miracle dice, and you roll enough shots that hit and wound and go through to the enemy save, which they fail, then you can cause more damage. I don't think it's going to end up anywhere other than in B tier. Much as I love it, much as I wish it was better. Piano tier, yeah. It's A tier, but the actual use of it is irrelevant. Yeah. They can be interested in bringers of flames if they have strength 11 missiles. Yeah, but remember you've got to get within 6 inches. You're rolling your artillery tank into 6 inches of the enemy. It can happen, but... And you get advance and shoot, because everything has assault. Maybe. I wouldn't, though. I really wouldn't. No, this is a B tier tank. We love it. We wish it was better. It has been better. It was definitely A tier in the Codex. It was above the Castigator in the Codex. But nowadays, it's B tier. It is good. I recommend it. But probably you just want one. Now, is it just my stream that's temporarily frozen? Are we all good? That page is having a problem. Okay, we're still on. That's fine. We're still on. I've just lost chat temporarily. Come back. Please come back. It's coming back. Alright. So since I mentioned the Castigator, we'll do the Castigator. Here's the Castigator. Temporarily we'll put them in C tier. C for Castigator. And it means that anyone watching later and be like, oh, put the Castigator in C tier. Well, not where I'd put it. Skip 10 seconds later. Okay. Castigator is a little bit overcosted. They are more expensive than a Knight Armiger or either kind of Knight Armiger. I think they're both 140 points. The Castigator's 170? That sounds correct. Have they changed that? They changed it in the last balance patch. It's 160 now. Yes. There we go. I know what we're about. So... No, don't post 3 Sanctifier squad lists. It's not a bad idea. It's some scouting and some fire. That's very nice. Yeah. Does the unit have to be wholly within 6 inches of St. Catherine to get the bonus? Or just partially within? It's an aura of St. Catherine, so as long as the unit, like one model in the unit, is slightly in, then you get the bonus. Yeah, you just have to be within rather than wholly within. It's the difference between those two terms you got to look for. Right, anything else the Castigator does? So it's good. It's good. Yeah, I got 10 points cheaper in June. The bonus AP is nice. It's nice. You can stack it with, say, the Immolator for ignore cover, and then you're getting AP -1, and then you could hit them with the Exorcist. Those 3 tanks go very well as a combination. I think it's nice. It's okay. It's a fine tank. It gives you heavy bolters. There's no alternate to swap out the heavy bolters. Both of the turrets are fine. You've either got the battle cannon, which is a lot of shots, damage 3, AP -1, strength 10, importantly strength 10, not strength 9 like a multi-melter. Or you got the rapid fire autocannons. If you're going to move close within 24 inches, you get 8 shots, and they are twin linked, so they have more chance of wounding. Both of those cannons are good. I have no real preference between them. If you're going to do a bit more long-range shooting while the rest of your army is closer, then you want the battle cannon. If you know you're going to be on dense terrain and you're going to have to be maneuvering around different ruins to get around the corners, to get towards line of sight, then you're going to want the Castigator autocannons. Thank you for the happy birthdays. Oh, you just started playing Sisters. Should I get the tank with the piano missiles? It's a fun vehicle. It's a fun kit. It's a fun model. It has fun rules. I think you'll like it. Love some heavy flamers on the Castigator? Yeah. There's a bolter spam list combining Castigators and Immolation. I can see that. Yeah, I mean, Immolator, then Castigator, then fire a Battle Sister squad. Those bolters are now AP -1. Bringers of Flame, potentially Strength 5 AP -1. That's very nice. It's Dominions in A tier at the moment. Battle Cannon is better because the autocannon's role can be covered by other things. It's practically the same gun. Practically the same gun. Reroll to wound is nice though. But having more shots at longer range, I like that a bit better. Remember the rights of castigation, you just need to hit with one of your weapons, whether that's a storm bolter or hunter killer missile, or a regular heavy bolter. That works. And you do a lot of bolter shots. It's good for taking out heavy infantry. It can be okay at taking out lighter vehicles. Similar kind of situation to the Exorcist. I don't know where you want to put the Castigator, so we'll do a poll. It's definitely up there. Are we going to put it on par with the Exorcist, or are we going to put it above the Exorcist and say it's A tier because we have the rights of castigation to be AP -1? And while I remember, let's gift some memberships. I know it's my birthday, but people can have 5 memberships on me. You get a gift, and Lord Pycross gets a gift back, and why not you gets a gift, and C.R. Smith gets a gift. There we go. Castigator, when I played, feels really strong. The Castigator is also relatively easy to take out. Relatively easy. It's toughness 10, not toughness 11. I know we're in like Predator territory, not Lehman Russ territory, since it is a cross between those two vehicles. It's quite nice. Okay, most people are saying A. That's like 2/3 A. We'll put it in A. I am seeing a few more Bringers of the Flame lists appearing in tournaments again. I think it was more was it last December? Yeah. Last December when we had the Bringers of Flame nerf. Then people were like, oh, well, if they're going to nerf it so badly, I'm not playing Bringers of Flame. The people who kept playing Bringers of Flame got better with Bringers of Flame and made the Bringers of Flame work, and now more of their lists are being copied. Bringers of Flame has a win rate close to Hallowed Martyrs and the Champions of Faith. There was a comment that I've just realised was there, as I've got the chat back. How are Sisters doing right now? Sisters are very average. We have 3 good detachments. I also like the Army of Faith and can get the Army of Faith to work. There are other people who can get the Penitent Host to work. There we go. Zerota, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Thank you for the happy birthday messages. Thank you. Having quite a few Castigators can work as like just there for adding the rights of castigation to improve the AP. It's a very nice vehicle in a lot of detachments because it just generally works. Not in the Penitent Host. It doesn't do a lot in the Penitent Host because that is a combat detachment. Yeah. Oh, you like my collab with Paul. I've noticed that people like my collabs with Paul. We work well together, and I like that. I'm sure it'll happen again soon that we'll do more collabing. Instead of average, I would say that Sisters of Battle are comfortable within the range of balanced. That is a nicer way of putting it. Very average. Yeah, have a lot of various tactics. You can have a couple of big bricks of Sisters, one led by an Imagifier, then you get a 2+ armor save. That's very nice. Or a Hospitaller to bring them back. Hospitaller with Celestine Sacrosants, that can work. Boost them up, well, more the shooting units. With the Castigators, you can do like lots of mini Death Stars. Or you can do Horde of Battle Sisters. You know my 60 Battle Sister list, which also had 6 Immolators, so we have 12 squads of 5 Sisters going around? You move on to objectives. You control the objectives with your objective control 2 bodies. And then, yeah, the enemy can take out, what, 1 unit? Are they going to split fire between 2 units? Maybe. Still your objective. That's just a way of getting there and dying on the point, but you control the point. You outscore the enemy, and you have enough units that you can slowly feed them into the meat grinder and win. That's just not how I like to play Sisters. That works for a lot of people. I prefer my Sisters alive and protected, so I play the Army of Faith. Then we have a lot more Miracle Dice options for just saying, hey, I've passed all my armor saves. My unit is still alive. I control that objective. Especially as we lose some of the less valuable units like 3 Arco-flagellants, 1 Penitent Engine, 1 Mortifier. We have more Miracle Dice. It can work. But the Champions of Faith does rather well. Doesn't need Miracle Dice anymore to work. Hallowed Martyrs also gives you a lot of Miracle Dice. Can we tie an Arco-flagellant to a Castigator to make it Penitent? Yeah, I know. There was also comparisons to like the Eldar Warwalker. That has a similar thing. An extra AP. Not as good as the Ridge Runner, because the Ridge Runner also works in combat. Yeah. Alright, okay. Let's go to the next unit. I've mentioned a bunch of units. Celestine Sacrosants. We're still in the C number. Right, where do the Celestine Sacrosants want to go? Let me find the Celestine Sacrosants. There they are. I have had them in C tier before. They are the unit you use in Champions of Faith. You give them a character, either a Canoness, maybe a Palatine, or a Hospitaller. It's for toughness. Generally, Battle Sisters lack for toughness. Toughness 3, that's not very good. Almost all weapons in the game are wounding you on a 3+, if not a 2+. 3+ armor save can be annoying, but it's not necessarily going to save you. If there's AP like -2, oh no, we're done for. So, Thousand Suns, Death Guard, they are very good at killing Battle Sisters, and there's not a great deal we can do about it. The Celestine Sacrosants have 1 wound, don't forget that. 2+ save, but 1 wound. Any amount of AP, AP1, AP2, okay, they're going down in droves. That's why you want the Hospitaller. You can bring back some models. If you throw a Miracle Dice through the Hospitaller, it's more than 1. You get a 5+ Feel No Pain, you got an invulnerable save, and you're -1 to wound. That is their unit rule, so if you're going to use them, I would say Champions of Faith or Hallowed Martyrs. Hallowed Martyrs has a couple of very nice combat stratagems. It is our other combat detachment. You got things like Righteous Vengeance, fully reroll hit rolls, and you've got Spirit of the Martyr, 2 command points, fight on death. Those are very useful for making the enemy pay as you kill them. B for bonk. I could do B for bonk. They have halberds, they also have the mauls. I used to like the halberds because I would put a Palatine with them. That was before we saw a big rise in the Champions of Faith and units of 10 for the Celestine Sacrosant. Now I think the mauls may be preferred. Damage 2 is good. You have in the Champions of Faith and the Army of Faith ways to boost that AP. Lethal hits, very useful, compensates for the Strength 4. We've said with Astra and Agatha, that's a lot of attacks you can be getting. They're damage 2. We don't care about the low strength. We don't care about the low AP. As long as we can get lucky and roll some 6s. They're quite good. Quite good. I know they're a very big part of the Champions of Faith. I wonder if Celestine Sacrosants are worth it when you played a small tournament. How'd the small tournament go, Chicken on a Raft? Did you like get 1 win, 2 losses, 2 wins, 1 loss? Both perfect acceptable results. And also depends on the size of the games and things, but yeah. Can't win on Sacrosants. I've had multiple times where they've beaten a Warglaive in melee without taking any damage. They're a lot like Repentia, I think. I think they're... Oh yes, they can get in and cause a lot of damage, but also they die very easily. Repentia die a lot quicker and do a lot more things, but Repentia can do so much more damage. It depends where you want to be on the survivability to damage dealing scale. Generally, for the Battle Sisters, we don't do survivability too well, even though I really wish we should. Yeah, I would love some more defense, just generally. I'm also hoping, like in 11th edition, we can remove the Miracle Dice and have more Miracle abilities. Look at the Dark Eldar Codex that's coming out, if you've seen the leaks. Each unit has an ability to use pain tokens with. So the Palatine has one already, the Hospitaller has one already. Then why not have another one that's like, okay, yeah, the Celestine Sacrosants ignore a point of AP. We also have Shield of Aversion in the Bringers of Flame, but you don't want to be thinking about combat units and then Bringers of Flame detachments. Yeah. Okay. I think these are a B tier unit. They are good in the Champions of Faith. They are pretty good in Hallowed Martyrs. You also want to consider like Arco-flagellants and Repentia. Having a squad of 10 is probably the best thing. With a character, that's already a big points investment. That can also die when it's traveling across the battlefield. So are you adding a Rhino? That's an even bigger points investment. Maybe at that point you just want a different unit. So if instead of a small unit of 5, I wouldn't have a small unit of 5, you have 3 Arco-flagellants or Crusaders or Death Cult Assassins. If they're an anvil, it's a 1 wound anvil. And they are 2+. Oh, they don't have a 2+ invulnerable save. I'm saying they have a 2+ invulnerable save. What am I talking about? They don't even have a 2+ save. I'm thinking of them with an Imagifier, which you don't want to add to this unit because they already have the invulnerable save. They're just Battle Sisters that are toughness 3 and with a 3+ save. AP -1, strength 4 guns. That's like an intercessor who gets 4 shots per model. It'll rip through them. So they're okay. They are okay. I'll put them in B tier. I can't recommend them more than B tier. In the Army of Faith, 1 unit's good with -1 to hit. Yeah, that's good. Having it with any jump pack unit nearby going, oh, now it's an aura. Now lots of units have -1 to be hit. I like that. Okay, next unit. Do we have any requests? Conflagration rockets are underrated. That's like saying people put them in D tier when they're actually C tier. I have used them. Generally, you don't need them. The Exorcist doesn't lack for better missiles. You can share transports in a way. Yeah, that's the like bunker transport tactic. Scout 1 forward, Dominions get out, new unit gets inside. So you can kind of share a transport. 1 transport between 2. Yeah. I get that. Okay, we'll do Repentia. There's 3 calls for Repentia. Let's have our Repentia, ladies. It's a good one with the Bringers of Flame, having that transport idea. Have a Rhino, unit gets out, new unit gets in, then you have access to a lot more stratagems. Right, Repentia. So, they had a little bit of a points drop. That's good. They're still a little bit too expensive. Their cost at the moment, Repentia, is 75 for 5, 160 for 10. I know you'll want them if you're in the Penitent Host. Have fun with them in the Penitent Host. Mostly, if not exclusively, Penitent Host. They're not great in the Army of Faith, but they're good in Hallowed Martyrs. You have Fight on Death. You already have full reroll to hit, so you don't need the other stratagem. You don't need Righteous Vengeance. Yeah. There's Suffering and Sacrifice available, so if you can have, like, a Mortifier or Penitent Engine nearby that the enemy has to attack because you use Suffering and Sacrifice, then your Penitent unit, your Repentia, will live. And I like that. So, combining the Demonofuge, who has Fight First, who has Heroic Intervention, with Repentia, that works. There are quite a few points, yes. I advocate using them in the Champions of Faith. Then you can get bonus movement. It's just 1 extra movement, but that's good. You also get 1 extra point of leadership. Their leadership is 7 with the superior. You get leadership 6. Less likely to fail battle shock. You don't get improved weapon skill or ballistic skill, but you get a lot of other stratagems. You can have extra strength, extra AP. Pile-in move of 6 inches if you needed to get them onto an objective. You could have lethal hits with Suffer Not the Unfaithful to stack with their existing sustained hits. There's nothing in this detachment that gives you criticals on a 5. That's in the Penitent Host. They can wreck things generally. I don't think they need the stratagems of the Penitent Host to work. In the Penitent Host, it's more about the Desperate for Redemption bonuses. 3 inches extra movement means you're moving 10 inches. Those are speedy ladies. You get Fight on Death on a 2+ as an alternative. Very important. Absolution in battle with the +1 attack and +1 strength is weirdly the least important one. Extra attacks are nice, but it's a lot of points on this unit. You can't have characters join them outside the Penitent Host, so you want to have them in a Rhino, or you can have them come from reserves and use a Miracle Dice on the charge roll of a 6, and then hope you roll a 3+ to make the charge. I've done that before. It's alright. The problem is whatever they hit, they'll kill. Whatever doesn't die is going to kill the Repentia. I think they're going to say in C tier. Does Champions of Faith give them extra movement? Yes, just from being righteous. If a unit is righteous, any unit that's righteous gets +1 movement, +1 leadership. Then the Battle Sisters, Sacrosants, and Paragon Warsuits get the extra weapon skill and ballistic skill. And the Celestine Sacrosants always have the bonus objective control. Right, yes, Repentia are C tier. So they're good, definitely Penitent Host. They can work in other detachments. But let's compare them to the Arco-flagellants. Arco-flagellants, right. Where are my Arco-flagellants? Here they are. They can be a small squad of 3. Oh great, we have something that can die and give us Miracle Dice, something that can control objectives if there's nothing left, either at the start of the game or at the end of the game. If there's nothing available to get onto an objective at the start, great, 3 Arco-flagellants it is. If you need them towards the end of the game, if they're still alive, when you're short of units, when you've done your brawling and scrapping and you've lost your big Sacrosant unit, they can still be around. Unit of 10 is really effective for taking out your Hormigants, your Cultist Hordes, and keep using that extremist trigger word. 6 attacks is great. And you can survive any hazardous tests, because that's 3 mortal wounds per model, but you can still use Feel No Pain against hazardous tests. It's a mortal wound now rather than the model is destroyed, or the model takes 3 wounds. You take 3 mortal wounds. You can use Feel No Pain against mortal wounds, so you can survive. Arco-flagellants hadn't been doing so well because against Toughness 6 Death Guard, against teleporting around Thousand Suns, with Flamers that are Strength 5. No, Strength 4. Strength 4 Flamers. AP -1, but we don't care about that. It's just a lot of Flamers. And the Knights and Chaos Knights, the Arco-flagellants had not been doing too well. Their Strength 5? Off the top of my head. Double check. Pretty sure Strength 5. Oh no, they're all, yeah, the Repentia, Arco-flagellants, everything in this edition has the Adepta Sororitas keyword. It's all in the corner of their unit. It says faction keywords, Adepta Sororitas. The only ones that wouldn't is like Allied Armigers and Knights and Imperial Agent units. They are not Adepta Sororitas, but all the other ones are, including the things that don't feel like it. Like the Arco-flagellants. Yes, Arco-flagellants are Strength 5. +1 to wound, it's nicer with a priest. Yeah, let's go. It's not a problem, not a problem. Why not UE? Questions are how we learn. Questions get answered. You will not be the only one to have needed to answer that question. Love your videos, happy birthday, thank you Sebastian. Yeah, the elf, the one Eldar model is also Adepta Sororitas. Yeah, Strength 5. It works pretty well against Chaos Space Marines, against Orcs. We do pretty well against Orcs and Votan and things. +1 to wound is good. It's not always necessary. 10 Arco-flagellants by themselves can work alone. +1 to wound helps you. Still, do not charge these into vehicles. If it's a toughness 9 vehicle, you're wounding on 5s, oh well, maybe it's a 4 with the priest, but you're still AP 0 and 1 damage. The average tank is saving on a 3+. If they fail, or even half of them to get through, you're still not killing the tank. Even if you're using stratagems like the Army of Faith, Divine Guidance, +1 AP, you're still not killing a tank. How do we do against Militarum? Generally pretty well, unless it's an entire tank army. We can take out a lot of guardsmen pretty quickly with units like the Arco-flagellants. What we don't do so well is all of the Leman Russes, because they're toughness 11, our weapons are strength 10 at best. So we struggle more with them. But if we can take the objectives off them and not get blown up so much, that'd be nice. Autisticus Rex. Thank you for the advice on sisters. You are most welcome. Thank you for the birthday message. Are Penitent Engines good for 1,000-point games in most attachments? Yes, absolutely. They're annoying to kill. And they have good strength weapons. Strength 10. Okay, now we're getting there, but it's about... Strength 10 seems to be our cap. It's like Games Workshop in 10th edition, like, okay, we're going to get rid of the strength toughness 10. Used to be capped at 10 for like all of the previous editions. That was as high as it went. And then they were like, oh no, we're going to have toughness 13. We're going to have 24 wounds. We're going to have strength 24. And they're like, did anyone tell the Battle Sisters about this? No, not really, no. So we go up as high as toughness 10 and as high as strength 10. I wouldn't say this weapons are balanced around the Hallowed Martyrs detachment rule, so you potentially get +1 to wound. When I've played it, it's very rare. Maybe 1 unit in the game gets +1 to wound, and that'll be 2 Battleshock Dominions running around with melter guns. Toughness 13, super heavies. So Leman Russ is toughness 11, but a Shadow Sword, toughness 13. And I'm sure there's other things like the really big knights. They used to be like toughness 12. 13? They've probably gone down now. There may still be Imperial Armor things. Right, Arco-flagellants. Repentia can cut into hordes about as well as Arco-flagellants, and also have AP -2, which goes through their like 5+ save. I still quite like Arco-flagellants. They're very fast. They can be 8-inch move if righteous in the Champions of Faith. They do like a priest. Squads of 3 are also really good. A lot of the times what happens to sisters is you like lose a few models in the unit or use the whole unit. It's unfortunate like that. So it's only towards the end of the game that you have like a couple of them left. It's a Q&A. We don't want a Q&A, we want a poll. And I'll let you decide where Arco-flagellants are. Whether it's A tier, because they're good. You should have them in like all detachments, most of the time. B tier is, yeah, they're alright. Maybe the Repentia do better. Maybe you just want to have Celestine Sacrosants these days, which have an actual armor save. C tier is, these are a penitent unit. You play them in the penitent host, you don't really play them anywhere else. But in the Hallowed Martyrs, very good combat detachment. You can have full rerolls to hit. You have sustained hits. You can have 6 attacks per model with the extremist trigger word. It's a lot of attacks can get through. You should be killing hordes, but I think you should be killing hordes anyway. And there's not usually that many horde enemy units, unless like that's the whole thing. Like the Chaos Cult detachment, or Poot. Or a horde of Astra Militarum, who want the benefit of cover, which does nothing in combat. Damn traitor guard. B for Arco-flagellant. B for Black Arco-flagellant it is. Bah. Okay, what takes my fancy next? We mentioned Penitent Engines. That looks Penitent Engine-y. We'll do Penitent Engines. Penitent Engines, right. These can go a lot of places also. They die... yeah, they die pretty quickly. 1,000 points is the place where they survive. But they rush in really well. They can advance and charge. What you need to learn is where to aim them. To hide in the first turn, not get shot, don't have them stick out in the open because they have speed. Advance and charge is speed. 8-inch movement is speed. Yeah. And they can advance and charge, so they're going between 9 and 14 inches. Hello, I play Pure Strain Genestealers. They're also equally fast. That's how fast a Penitent Engine is. Penitent Buzzblades are the one you want, not the Penitent Flails. We have Penitent Flails on Arco-flagellants, on other things that are like Strength 5. Sustained hits, 4 attacks. Okay, maybe we get an extra hit. They're Strength 10 and Twin Linked. That's the only way we really get above Strength 10, because of Twin Linked. So we're winning on 5s, but we can reroll. Cut into the tanks, AP -3, damage 2. This will kill some heavy infantry, or upset a tank's day. And you can feed Penitent Engines at the enemy like one at a time if need be. I would have them in squads of 1 because every destroyed unit is another Miracle Dice. And if you're playing the Hallowed Martyrs, if you lose a wound on one model, you get +1 to hit. That's important when your weapon skill is 4+. If they were a squad of 2, and you take 4 wounds on one Penitent Engine, you get no bonus. Because your unit strength was 2. You have to lose a whole Penitent Engine before you get +1 to hit. And you're never going to get 2 +1 to wound, because you'll be at half strength at that point. You will not be below half strength. Flamers are fun. They're a pretty versatile unit that can take out some light infantry with their flamers, some heavy infantry with their buzzblades, damage tanks. They can definitely do their points worth wherever you put them. Overwatch? Pretty good Overwatch, yeah. Because it's essentially 4 flamers, 2 twin-linked flamers. So you get 2d6 shots, and you get to hit automatically, and you get to fully reroll the wound rolls. That's pretty good Overwatch. Maybe you want 2 of them for Overwatch? I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. No. I think they're okay for their points cost. 75 points is fine for what they do. Mortifiers may be better. From my experience, Mortifiers are better. So Penitent Engines are going in B. They are good. I prefer Mortifiers now. So Mortifiers, they are slightly cheaper. They are tough objective holders. If the Penitent Engines points were to change at all, I would just say put them in line with the Mortifiers. The Mortifiers hit on a 3+. That's an important distinction. Oh, you got damaged in the Hallowed Martyrs? Wow, it was just like 1 mortal wound from an exploding Immolator because you deliberately exploded it because you're a crazy person and you want to hurt your own troops. Well, now you're hitting on a 2+. Great. That's with your Heavy Bolters or your Penitent Buzzsaws. Heavy Bolters are good. Heavy Bolters are not worth coming out into the open for. Just to fire 2 Heavy Bolters, don't do that. You will get shot and die. I found that my enemies are very good at perfectly doing 5 wounds. Like they'll go, blam blam blam, and it just does 5 wounds. They have Fight on Death on 2+, so they're good to just put on an objective. The enemy can try and shoot them off. The enemy may have to charge them, and we may be able to do damage at the same time. Very good. They are 70 points, yes. That's lovely. I would have the Heavy Bolters better than the Flamers. Penitent Engines don't get a choice. You want to have a 3+ save on your modifier. You can lose 1 point of movement and be a mere movement 7. You can cope. The Penitent Engine is the fast one because it moves 8 and has advance and charge. The advance and charge is what gives it the speed. Mortifiers are okay. They can advance and charge in the Penitent host with a stratagem. Otherwise, they work alright. In like every detachment. It's just a variation of them on a Penitent Engine. So I recommend having them. Do we want to say they're better than Penitent Engines and therefore A tier, or they're about the same as a Penitent Engine and therefore B tier. Mortifia A or B. Does that come up as a poll? There we go. 2 come in the box. Yes, they come in boxes of 2. So you could have 1 Pentagon Engine, 1 Modifier. Or you could have 2 separate models. I think they come still in the rules as a unit of 1 or 2, because there is that one that used to be in the Combat Patrol box. Also, as they're a box of 2, that can be built 2 different ways from the different models there. Yeah, 1 Modifier, 1 Pentagon Engine isn't too bad. I can't remember if the box gives you 2 of the Aconithrite sarcophagus. No, I think it just gives you 1. So building 1 of each is a good idea. Cost of 2 is too similar to a Castigator. But a Castigator isn't going to rip the enemy's head off or fight on death. I think I'm okay with 2. I would put them, yeah, okay, B tier. B tier it is. The chat has decided. There. Right. So, next unit. Requests. Take requests. Make sure I'm caught up on the chat. Dr. Eggman's building Genestealer cult and is starting with the army box. Any recommendations for other purchases? I do have a how to start Genestealer cult video. I recommend a squad of neophytes or the kill team, because you can make all the characters you ever need from that box. And if you think a rock grinder is cool, get the rock grinder. There's 3 models, like neophyte models, come with that. They can become characters. Then you still have enough for all your other neophyte squads. So that's a good choice to get. Last time you got to play Dirac was 3 balance patches ago. So that would be like March time or earlier. We have Novitiates, Palatine, Avaline, Canoness, Hospitaller, Paragon, Celestine. We get 2 sarcophagus in the box, right? A lot of B tier units. Yeah, we're doing alright. We're doing alright. We'll do Novitiates, because the person who said Novitiates gave me money. That is fair. Where's the Novitiates? They are... there. Novitiates. Drop them in C tier for the moment. Sister Novitiate Squad. This is a squad that can infiltrate. Very useful ability. Or you can control the middle of the board from the start of the game. You can stop enemy infiltrators getting there. You can control an objective right away. You have a simulacrum. You could potentially generate a miracle dice in the first turn. Yeah, I think that works, because the simulacrum is... when do we do that? Or does it not work in the very first turn? Simulacrum Imperialis. At the end of the command phase, for each objective marker you control. Yeah, that's fine, because you control objectives at the end of any phase. So if you go first, the command phase ends, or at the end, no, the end of the command phase, you control that objective, and at the same time, the Simulacrum Imperialis will activate. So you can generate a command point from it in the first turn. Yes, that works. If I have a Novitiate with a Palatine, do they lose Infiltrate? They do indeed. Infiltrate works only if you have every model in the unit has the Infiltrate rule. That's on Infiltrate. Same as Scout. The exceptions to that are Ministorm Priest has the special rule that says they can be with Dominions and still Scout, they can be with Novitiates and still Scout. I wouldn't want to put a Ministorm Priest with Novitiates. I would want to put a Palatine with the Novitiates. Probably the only character that I put with Novitiates. And then you go in an Immolator. You split them. 5 of them still infiltrate. We're still doing infiltrate-y things. You then have 5 safe Novitiates with a Palatine who's going to jump out, and you get reroll hit rolls of 1. That's the Novitiate special rule. And it's full rerolls to hit if you're attacking an enemy on objective, which doesn't really matter for the Palatine. We're doing all this for the Palatine, by the way. They're hit on a 2+ normally, but if the enemy was -1 to hit, and you have full rerolls to hit, you're going to get more hits. And that means you could, against like the really tough enemies, roll more 6s, which are lethal hits. Reroll the 5s, reroll the 4s, why not? Get 6, if it's hard to wound the enemy, try and get 6s in the hit roll. Remember, you hit on a 2+, so you're still likely to do it. You can split Battle Sisters, Dominions, or Novitiates with an Immolator. Where would you recommend to put the special weapons when splitting them with an Immolator? So, Novitiates we have... So with the Palatine, I would put the Sacred Banner, which allows you to re-roll your charge rolls. Very important. Have the Superior there. Maybe... I mean, the models that are infiltrating are going to get shot or charged and die. So I would stick with the Simulacrum and 4 regular Sisters. If you want to have 2 Flamers, I would have the 2 Flamers with the Palatine. Otherwise, pure Novitiate melee weapons also works. But as long as you have the Superior and the Sacred Banner with the Palatine, it's fine. Yeah, more melee weapons. More melee weapons can work. Flamer's good. Flamer's okay. Flamer's an option. You can potentially generate Miracle Dice in turn 1. I turned some of mine into Repentia as well. Yeah. Because the Combat Patrol box, the Monopose one, the previous one, the 9th edition one, 8th edition, 9th edition one. Yeah, that one has 4 Repentia. If you want to make that into a squad of 10, you need 5 more. Repentia who actually wear clothes. Yeah. They're pretty good. Remember that when you split a unit with an Immolator, that is a separate unit. The 2 units of 5 don't interact each other at all. And when they're destroyed, because they're a unit, that's a Miracle Dice. Splitting them is really good to get those Miracle Dice when they die. Flamers with the Infiltrators to threaten Overwatch. I can't think of many enemies that would be particularly threatened by 2 Flamers. Like 5 cultists, maybe. Yeah, like the World Eater cultists, potentially. 2 Flamers could kill. We're averaging, what, 3 or 4 dead? That's half the squad. That's something. They might fluff it against the other 5. But I probably wouldn't fire Overwatch. I wouldn't really care about Overwatch. I would stick with the Flamers, with the Palatine. Then when you get out the Immolator, great, we've got more flames. We can do gun. We can use gun. Or I'm fine without the Flamers. Okay, because of all the things they can do, because of Infiltrate, because they're a very cheap unit, I think they're A tier. Recommend having them. You don't need to have them, but I recommend having them. Okay, reroll charges. Yes, very nice. Very nice. Other requests? Palatine. I'm talking about the Palatine. Let's do the Palatine. Palatine. Right, this is one of our characters that can do damage. A lot of the damage dealing of the Adepta Sororitas is just done by the heroines. That's why the Hallowed Martyrs is so good. You can bring the heroines back. You have divine intervention so that someone who died can come back. You need a Miracle Dice to make the Palatine work, so keep a Miracle Dice there. It doesn't matter the number on the Miracle Dice. It can be a 1 or a 2, which are kind of useless in this edition. Throw that into the Palatine, and then you get... Was it? For every successful wound, 1 mortal wound is caused. A successful wound is a successful wound roll that is enough to cause a wound to the enemy. So they don't need to fail their save, they could pass all the saves, and they will still take mortal wounds. Devastating wounds? Devastating wounds. No, it's just, yeah, no mortal wounds. It's 1 mortal wound from each successful wound. So if you've got 3 successful wounds, that is 3 mortal wounds on the enemy. So anything that increases her attacks is better. Anything that increases damage doesn't really matter. That's not going to increase the number of mortal wounds you're causing. However, it is good to change that damage 2 attack into damage 3. You can just stab characters. You can take out Terminators and the like. You can start having a go at smashing light tanks. So through Suffering Strength is good. The Blade of St. Eleanor is also good. That gives you precision all the time. What you do there, you get some successful wounds against the enemy. Put the normal attacks against the bodyguard. Put the mortal wounds against the enemy character. If anyone has an invulnerable save, it's gonna be that enemy character. 4 successful mortal wounds, 4 wound enemy, they're dead. You've killed the character. Great. That works. Oh yes, and the Blade of St. Eleanor gives you a Miracle Dice when you kill an enemy. So you killed a character, you get a Miracle Dice. The Palatine also gives you lethal hits. That's great for her unit, be it Novitiates or whatever. But she can do rather well in a Battle Sister squad, anything that doesn't take Flamers. Because Flamers don't roll a hit roll, so Flamers can't get wound rolls. So Battle Sisters are good. Penitents, Repentia in the Penitent Host attachment. Maybe Sacrosants. But you already get lethal hits from the mauls. And if you have Sacrosants, I prefer a Canoness or a Hospitaller. So I'd put my Palatine with regular Battle Sisters. That's a lot of shots, that's getting lethal hits. Low strength is one of the problems we have. Or you put it with Novitiates. In the Army of Faith, I put my Palatine with Battle Sisters. You can move them forward. There is now a great combat unit within that. The Palatine gives you combat. The unit generally is good at shooting. Also put a Dialogus there. Then we do the thing I mentioned with the Dialogus. We throw in a Miracle Dice. It's an automatic hit. We wound the enemy because it's a 6. We have lethal hits from the Palatine. And then we use another Miracle Dice on the damage roll. Now we have damage 6. It's great for just saying, that tank is going to go away now. Yes. Thank you, Justin, for popping in. I don't think there's any way to say anything other than the Palatine is A tier. That's where you put your smashy enhancements. The place we used to put our smashy enhancements in the previous edition was the Dogmata. Where are they? Now they can be kind of fun. I had fun with them in my battle report. They improve not a lot. I think they're still basic leadership 7, which is odd when they're a character that's like, oh, you must not fail, but no leadership. Oh yeah, leadership 6. They are leadership 6. Okay, so they boost your leadership by 1. They worsen enemy leadership within 6 by 1. You get more objective control. We generally don't need that. It happened to work out in my game when, with Battle Sisters, who are now objective control 3 each, I was able to outscore a Bloodthirster. Now, potentially, in the Army of Faith, you can have the Divine Aspect enhancement for 5 points. So enemies that fail Battle Shock within 12 inches give you a Miracle Dice. And they're Battle Shocked, so you force a Battle Shock test. If they fail, they're Battle Shocked, and they give you Miracle Dice. If you're within 6 inches, it's -1 leadership. It still may not matter. The combat enhancements that would have gone on her, that can still go on her, put them on a Canoness or a Palatine. Those characters cost 50 points. The Dialogus cost 40 points and is a very useful leadership unit. The Dogmata is 45 points and doesn't do what either of them do. I think they should have the Penitent keyword, like the Preacher does. Yeah, it's a not great unit. Of all the other things we have, it's going in D tier. Yeah, it's a cute idea. It's a cute idea with the thing, with the -1 leadership. But remember, putting Divine Aspect on a Hospitaller, it's going to do the same thing, but without that -1 leadership. How have I been? I've been alright. I'm having a good birthday. Right. So, moving on from the Dogmata. Hospitaller. We've mentioned the Hospitaller. Right, Hospitallers. Ooh, here we go. I'm not necessarily putting them in D tier. It can be a struggle to justify a Hospitaller. On a Battle Sister squad, if you're playing small point games like 500 points, 1000 points, 1500 points, Hospitallers are useful. There are far fewer enemy units that will go and just wipe out a unit. I clicked my fingers, I don't know if that came through on the audio. So, Hospitaller is very useful for that 5+ feel no pain. And then, bringing back units. Models. Bringing back models. So we have one model comes back all of the time. Where is the Hospitaller? We have so many characters. If you spend a Miracle Dice, you get D3 +1 models. That can just restore us whole squad. That's great. That's great. What else have they got? They go well with Sacrosants. We know very well with Sacrosants. Excellent, Finger Snap came through. Because then you get 5+ Feel No Pain, -1 to Wound, and you restore models. So with a squad of 10 Sacrosants, that's good. That's good. Your squad is going to cost about 180 points. It's not ideal, but it's a Champions of Faith combo that can work nicely. The Champions of Faith is also a detachment that works really well in low point values. 1,000 points, you have 7 units, 3 of them are righteous at any one time. That does well. When you're going to like 1,500 points, 2,000 points, it's less effective. And maybe you want the Hallowed Martyrs there. Hospitaller, I think people are saying B tier. B tier is getting kind of full. Let's see what we think. Start a poll. Hospitaller. Get ready to vote. Is it A tier or is it B tier? Blah 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 blah. 3 Hospitallers and Sacrosant squads. I wouldn't recommend that. It's an expensive army, and it dies very quickly if the enemy has mild armor penetration. There's a lot of, oh yeah, I have just +1 AP now. Think of the Army of Faith. Think of Intercessors. Think of Hormigants. Hormigants can tear through Celestine Sacrosants, and they cost half the points. So I see it. I recommend one of those combos, but I just don't recommend like 30 Sacrosants. Like ever, even in Champions of Faith. 10, yeah. 20, you're pushing it. Okay, A tier. A tier she is. Happy birthday. Since I'm somewhat known for getting into niche armies with Genestealer Occult and Deathwatch, would I consider a mono Harlequin army? I've never really liked the Harlequins aside from the troop. Which is to say, the one troop unit. They were kind of fun in like 8th edition, or 7th edition, a bit later on when they had like 3 variations. There's Twilight and there's Sun Time and there's Night Time. It was interesting. But no, I think I'm in niche enough armies. I looked at the Grand Tournament London. It's like, okay, the 5 lowest played armies we have Battle Sisters, then Genestealer Occult, then Deathwatch, then something, then Imperial Agents. I make great choices. Oh, the Arbites, yeah, they do make good Sacrosant kit bashes. Arbites. Adeptus Arbites. Yeah, having squads of 5, it's very expensive to get Sacrosants like that. Hospitallers and the Battle Sisters. You can't have Hospitallers and Battle Sisters and Magifiers together. The Magifiers and the Hospitallers can only double up in Battle Sister squads with a Canoness or Palatine or some of the special characters. They can't double up with each other. So you can't have a 2+ invulnerable save and a 5+ Feel No Pain in the same unit. Nice idea, doesn't work. But let's talk about this Magifier. Right, let's assume for now that the -10 points is correct. Even though they're still listed at 65 points, 55 points sounds correct. I requested it in my predictions for the balance patch, so why does it not happen? It should happen. We should have that. Oh yeah, Battle Sister Squad with Junith and Hospitaller. It's getting expensive. Junith gives you -1 to hit. Yeah. Right. So we've got, right, Magifier. You get a 2+ save. Now we're getting some really tough Battle Sisters. Yeah? Those are hard to kill. Now your light infantry shots, even AP -1, you're going to survive. Because you have a 2+ save. And the whole unit has a 4+ invulnerable save. You don't really want this on Sacrosants, you'll be fine with any other character. Hospitaller, Canoness, Palatine, potentially. But putting a Magifier on a Battle Sister squad, it's already a squad of 10. You're not going to split it. Not going to split it with like an Immolator. Don't really need to put them in a Rhino. You can just keep moving up the battlefield. Even in the Bringers of Flame, they do very well in the Bringers of Flame. Because you can advance and shoot. Also in the Bringers of Flame, we have the Shield Reversion Stratagem. You ignore 1 point of armor penetration. That AP -1 is now AP 0. All of your sisters have a 2+ save. Oh me, oh my. That's very nice. If you got the benefit of cover, AP -1 gets ignored. And you go back to 2+ save. So I meant Hospitaller and Sacrosants. And then separately the Magifiers and Battle Sisters in the same army. Yeah, that works, Ninja Rebels. In fact, that is something I have done. So having the Sacrosants, and then having the Battle Sisters, you got 2+ saves, you got 4+ invulnerable save across your whole army. That can work. The Magifier has generally missed out because you'll have a Hospitaller instead. So, yeah, we have to assume for the moment, because it's on the app, because it's on the website, that the Magifier is 65 points. I'm saying that when we get an update to like the Dark Eldar points, they will sneak in a point change to the Magifier at that time. Or if they finally release the Deathwatch points and stick them on the datasheet, then they'll also put in the Magifier at the same time. Having trouble again with my chat. I don't mean you, I mean just seeing the chat. I know you're still there. I know you're still behaving. Right. Yeah, so tough sisters, tough sacrosants, you can be annoying to kill. I like being annoying to kill. So the Magifier, when played at 55 points, is good. We are in a bit of a limbo at the moment. I think for that reason, I'll put them in B tier. They're pretty good. It's fine in Battle Sister Squad, especially when you want to get onto an objective and stay on that objective and survive on that objective. That 2+ save isn't just against shooting, it's in combat, it's all the time. That is nice. A lot of enemies do not like that. Okay, that's where the Magifier is going. So, 2-minute break, because this has been 2 hours worth of stream, and I know we still have quite a few units to get through. I'll see you in 2 minutes. If you could request the next unit you want, by all means stick that in the side. Yeah, Magifier with Novitiates, changing their 4+ armor save to a 2+. Also considered with Repentia. That would have been nice. 6+ save? No, it's a 2+ save. Yes, so put the units you want to cover next in the chat. There's the Ko-fi link in the description if you want to give me some birthday money or tips generally, or if you want to book a one-to-one coaching and I can help you with your army list, I'm happy to do that. And if you want some discount brushes, Golden Maple Paint brushes are 15% off if you use my code VTuber. That's all in the description. I'll see you soon. Sounds like we're doing Celestine. Does adding a Minister and Priest to a sister squad give the sisters the penitent keyword? Yes. However, there's a however in there. When it comes to a lot of the penitent host things, most of them affect penitent models, not penitent units. There's the occasional one that will affect a penitent unit. So in the penitent host we have Bound Seal? Is that the fallback? Yeah. You can fall back and shoot or charge. If your unit is penitent, then you can fall back, shoot, and charge. But something like... let me think. Purity of Suffering? That gives a 4+ Feel No Pain to penitent models. So adding a Minister and Priest to Battle Sisters wouldn't help those Battle Sisters get a 4+ Feel No Pain. Thank you, Brent. Thank you. Okay, Celestine. We have had a points drop on our Blessed Lady who gets back up. Where is our Blessed Lady that gets back up? There she is. A points drop of a whole, 10 points. Wow, okay. So she's 150 points now. That's still kind of high. A lot of what Celestine had going for her was taken away by the Jump Pack Canoness. The Jump Pack Canoness lets you use a stratagem for free on a lot of your units. Saint Celestine doesn't add much. She slowly resurrects the unit, really requiring a squad of 10, so it's okay in the Hallowed Martyrs where, we've got like a couple of casualties, we get +1 to hit, that's good. You can't choose not to cry. She's always going to do it. It's not like an optional thing. Saint Celestine has the Healing Tears. While it contains a Celestine model, you'd return a Gemini or D3 Bodyguard models. It's not optional the way the Hospitaller is optional. I think the Hospitaller is optional. Let me check the wording on the Hospitaller. Yeah, Hospitaller is you can return a model. So if you lost a model in the Hallowed Martyrs, you can return a model with the Hospitaller. Saint Celestine, you must. She is a crying lady. She's gonna cry no matter what. It's a unit ability, yeah, so you can use it off the battlefield if you had the Army of Faith Stratagem Angelic Descent. That takes her off the board. Good, good. A lot of her use is usually by herself. Now you can put her with Celestine, put Celestine with Seraphim. Then she gets the Seraphim ability to move after shooting. Because with that one, it says all models in the unit. Like, this unit does the thing. It's not like just Seraphim models. You could put it with Zephyrim. You get sustained hits or lethal hits. And her Ardent Blade would sure love that. She's very expensive though. Celestine still costs the same as 5 Zephyrim and a Jump Pack Canoness. So have her by herself, with the 2 Gemini. As she is not an attached unit, you can have the wounds assigned to Celestine. She has 5 wounds. She has a 4+ invulnerable save, 2+ save, which is the same as the Gemini, yes. But that's a lot more wounds. And while there's a Gemini alive, Celestine has a 4+ Feel No Pain. You don't reassign wounds to the Gemini, it's just a 4+ Feel No Pain. So as long as she's not in an attached unit, which she's not unless you put her with Seraphim or Zephyrim, assign wounds to Celestine, she survives a lot more wounds because of that 4+ Feel No Pain, then she dies, on a 2+, she gets back up, rejoining the Gemini. Then, after that, lose the Gemini, try and get them back if you can, but otherwise go through the Gemini and then go through Celestine, is what I'd recommend. Yeah, she costs 2 modifiers, it's not ideal. 8-7 sticks, yes, all the stratagems say penitent unit, but it's the wording of what they affect that you need to check. So then it'll say penitent models in this unit get this, penitent models in this unit get this. You can use it, but yeah, Lord Pycrust's understood it. We got it. Good, good, good. You prefer losing one Gemini first, then going for Celestine, maxing use of the tiers? Yeah, I could see that. That can work. So lose a Gemini, then go for Celestine. As long as there's one Gemini left, Celestine gets back up, rejoins her Gemini, cries, brings back the other Gemini. That could be irritating. That's probably the best way to do it. As long as there's not sufficient overkill to get through Celestine and then through the Gemini as well, and then Celestine gets back up. Oh, that's fine either way. That's fine. Right. She's a B tier unit. She's still quite expensive and doesn't do as much as the Canoness with Jump Pack. Oh look, we're doing the Canoness with Jump Pack next. Canoness with Jump Pack. So we have one fewer... stratagems cost one fewer command point. Very useful in the Bringers of Flame for those stratagems that did cost 2 command points, now cost 1. Things like Cleansing Flames. Turn up with Seraphim. All of your torrent weapons, which is a lot of hand flamers, have devastating wounds. Now it's 1 command point. Shield of Aversion. Ignore a point of armor penetration. That's just free. Grenades. Keep using your grenades. Because we have not great strength compared to the toughness of enemies, use grenades. 3 to 6 mortal wound, well, no, 0 to 6 mortal wounds, averaging 3 mortal wounds. Sometimes you get 1, sometimes you get 5. It can be very useful, and if it's free, just do it. Throw grenades! That's what they're for. What else can we do with the Jump Canoness? Thinking, cogitating. Yeah, cheaper stratagems. In the Army of Faith, Blinding Radiance for free. That's an aura of -1 to hit from a Jump Pack unit. She's a Jump Pack unit, as is the Seraphim or Zephyrim she joins. Pretty good with the Zephyrim. The Zephyrim, which I think I'll do next. Their special ability, Embodied Prophecy, you always get sustained hits 1 or lethal hits, and that affects all weapons on all models in the unit. That is not how the Codex has it written, but that's the rule currently. So if you have your Jump Canoness with a halberd, have sustained hits, or lethal hits, whatever you need at the time. The Canoness with Jump Pack is also very useful because of her speed. Throw on a defensive enhancement like the Mantle of Ophelia. Then she's hard to kill. She can complete missions by herself and has the speed to do so, moving 12 inches. Only 3 wounds, which is not great. Dies easily. In the Hallowed Martyrs, you can bring her back. The thing you want to do in the Hallowed Martyrs is just save loads of command points for, oh no, I lost a unit in this phase. Time to bring back the character. And keep it going. That means you can hold an objective when you otherwise would get shot off it. You can keep the enemy not quite tied up in combat because you respawn out of combat. But you can immediately charge back in your turn. Yeah. It's a good character. Very versatile, very useful. A tier. Right, those Zephyrim. So they have had their boost recently to get the extra either sustained hits or lethal hits on all of the weapons of all the models. So you can be led by Celestine and she'll get the sustained hits. Or lethal hits. You could be led by a Jump Canoness, and yeah, you will get those bonuses to that Jump Pack Canoness as well. They're still quite expensive. I still don't think they compare well to Seraphim. You can have a squad of 5 Zephyrim drop in and complete missions. They are Jump Pack units. Seraphim can do that also, and Seraphim can shoot things if need be. If you don't get, like, Established Locus, or, well, anything that needs an action in the enemy deployment zone. Great. Either of them could do that, but if it's not that, if it's like behind enemy lines, Seraphim can be there and also shoot. Now the Zephyrim do have a Sacred Banner to reroll their charge rolls. That's okay to get them in. They don't seem to do too much damage for me. Unless you're like having a squad of 10 and a character, and you're throwing stratagems on them for like full rerolls to hit in Hallowed Martyrs, it's not great. Like a squad of 5 is a good delivery method for characters, for like a jump Canoness, for Celestine. But at the same price as Seraphim, I prefer the Seraphim. So I'll go with Seraphim. Doing the Seraphim next. Not to get off track. First Celestine over the Canoness, Blinding Radiance, Reviving Zephyrim. Yeah, hey, you can prefer Celestine, that's no problem there. You're just paying twice as much is the problem. That's the unfortunate thing. Once per game, the Canoness with the halberd or whatever will do more damage, but there's usually only like 2 fight phases that you'll get into. She'll live twice as long. Yeah, okay, Celestine lives twice as long as 2 jump Canonesses. Zephyrims want to jump Palatine so badly. I know. Thank you, Lord Piecrust, for the monies and for coming along. I hope you've had a good night. Yeah, maybe that's what they should have done, rather than a jump pack Canoness, which is what we used to have in like 2nd edition, have a jump pack Palatine. Maybe. Alright, let's do Seraphim. Seraphim. I'm just going to put them up there now. Seraphim are lovely, one of my favourite units, always have been. Right from when those metal models first dropped in Sanctuary 101, all the way back in 1997. Even without the Bringers of Flame, where you've got, oh no, I need to spend an extra command point to have devastating wounds on 1,000,000 hand flamer shots. And we only get the bonus strength if we're in 6 inches, not 12 inches, so you can't just derive from Deep Strike and be strength 5 on those hand flamers and bolt pistols. They move after shooting. They are very fast. So in the Bringers of Flame, move out of your deployment zone 12 inches, advance and shoot, because everything has assault in the Bringers of Flame detachment. And then move again. You can go like 24 inches with that unit. That is absurd. You are crossing the battlefield. That is your deployment zone to the enemy deployment zone. That's your home objective to the enemy home objective. Counterattack with hand flamers or counterattack with inferno pistols. See, a lot of people take the hand flamers because they have the longer range, so when coming from deep strike, yes, you can hurt things which you couldn't with the 6-inch range of the inferno pistols. But with the speed that the Bringers of Flame has, the speed that the Seraphim have, Inferno pistols are very good for taking out heavy infantry. You get 2 shots. They're strength 8, so they're wounding on 2s or 3s. And it's D3 damage. So you can just knock out a Terminator. Especially if you get within 3 inches, then you have Melter 2, you're guaranteed to do 3 damage. Now you are taking out heavy intercessors, Chaos Possessed, Chaos Havocs, things like that. I still recommend having Inferno pistols, but if you're deep striking, I would have the hand flamers, yes. The Seraphim are also really, really good in my Army of Faith. 10 Seraphim can cover like half my army, if not my entire army, in a -1 to be hit stratagem. The enemy shoots me, great, my entire army essentially has stealth. Welcome to the channel. Very good. Exorcist not A tier. They used to be. I'm just slightly disappointed at the moment. In terms of model, it's A tier. Don't worry about that. Right, so I'm going to slide... Well, there we are. They're an A tier unit. Okay, give me some other units you want to see. I know not everyone can stay the whole time. I know this is going to become a VOD, so you will be able to catch up where you were and then go through it. So you're like, oh, okay, we got this far. We did the Seraphim. Let's see where the characters are. Ooh, yeah, them characters. Give me a request. Here's what we've got to cover still. Otherwise, let's just do the Shrine. Shrine still exists. Shrine is there. It's a Legends unit. Does that break it? Does that mean that we can actually have something that is toughness 11? Yeah, the Battle Sanctum is toughness 11. Cannot move. Has no objective control, and I don't think there's any way to boost that, because putting like a Dialogus in the Shrine doesn't increase its AP. You have to attach them to a unit. You get cover, you can perform an additional act of faith. If you want to perform an additional act of faith, play Army of Faith. Great, there's a Battle Sanctum. Shrine. Oh yeah, basic Canoness. We'll do the basic Canoness. Can you take 3 shrines? You can take 3 shrines, yes. Right, Canoness. Basic Canoness. Canoness, right. They make your stratagems cheaper. I love having a Canoness in the Army of Faith. Oh, look at that. We have an extra point of AP. Oh, look at that. Just casually, my unit is -1 to be hit. Great for Celestine Sacrosants. Great for regular Battle Sisters. And grenades. Remember I've said grenades? Grenades. Also very good in the Hallowed Martyrs. Just because it's a character. They have a once per game 2+ invulnerable save. That can be a pain. I'll stand on an objective. You are not shifting me off this objective. If I die in the Hallowed Martyrs, bring her back. She won't get that 2+ she won't get back that 2+ invulnerable save again. It's the same model getting back up rather than a new model. Yeah, the Battle Sanctum is nice terrain, but other than terrain, I wouldn't have it as a unit. We know this. Canoness is versatile, good damage dealer, good weapon selection, yes. That 2+ invulnerable save is good. That 2+ invulnerable save, remember, has to be declared at the start of a phase. So the enemy hasn't shot you, you declare you're using it or not. If you say you're using it, then the enemy could be like, great, I'm just going to ignore you for this phase and shoot other things. That's fine. That's almost the same as the enemy shooting you and you passing all of your invulnerable saves and surviving. Very good for, oh, I've got precision attacks, just so you know. Well, I'll pop it anyway, and maybe the Lictor will just go for the regular squad. Fine. The Canoness lives. It's also good for getting in combat. Maybe use Epic Challenge, use her Blessed Blade, or Power Weapon, kill the enemy character, and survive. Keep that enemy unit tied up for an extra turn. She's good working by herself. Her 2 abilities, Sacred Command and the Emperor's Grace, don't require a unit to use those abilities. She can be operating by herself. Pretty good to just wander around completing actions. Secondary missions, holding objectives. I've seen quite a few Hallowed Martyrs lists that are just tanks and characters, and it's weird, but it does work. I think it's a bit janky, but it works. It works. Your weapon options, you can have an Inferno Pistol, good choice. Longer range Condemner Bolt Gun. You got a Plasma Pistol. If you have the Plasma Pistol and also the Power Weapon, then you can have the Rod of Office, then your unit gets to reroll hit rolls of 1. That's good with the Celestine Sacrosants. I wouldn't bother with the Nolan Rod, but the Blessed Blade, Strength 6 and lethal hits at AP -2, 2 damage. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Oh, yes. Hallowed Martyrs. You could activate your 2+ invulnerable save, and then use Suffering and Sacrifice, is it called? Yeah, so enemy units, enemy models that can attack your Canoness must attack your Canoness. So you can keep, like, a more valuable unit like Repentia alive. Yeah. And that's free, of course, because the Canoness makes stratagems 1 command point fewer, once per battle round, of course. So you get less out of her if you also have her and another Canoness, or her and a jump Canoness. It's the same ability with the same name. Her war gear options are also difficult to get your head around. Oh, I would like a Nolan Rod and a Blessed Blade. Nope, not allowed. If you have a Nolan Rod, you need to have a Chainsword. Come on, so weird. So weird. Yeah. It's kind of annoying like that. Okay, yes, she's an A tier. Blop. Say blop. Who have we got next? We've done Astra, done the Palatine. Junith? Junith Erewhita. Okay, you can with Junith spend a Miracle Dice to generate a command point. Command points are great. Or you can use her leadership. Her leadership is a 6+. Most of the time you're going to get a command point. In the early game, when you haven't got miracle dice to spend, I would just roll it and hope the dice are on your side. In the later game, when you have loads of rubbish miracle dice, if she's still around, throw a miracle dice into her to get that command point to keep you going in the later game. Her unit is -1 to be hit. I've seen Junith run alone, and that's not awful. Her toughness 5 will then work rather than using the bodyguard toughness 3. It's always toughness 3. We're battle sisters, come on. She's only okay in combat. The Mace of Castigation is similar to the Blessed Blade of the Canoness. Strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage, 4 attacks, no lethal hits. Nice to keep a unit more alive, like Battle Sisters. Like Sacrosants. Then they're -1 to hit and -1 to be wounded because there's a character in the unit. Not a bad combo. But I do prefer the Canoness or the Hospitaller to bring back models, or the Canoness has the Rod of Office to reroll hit rolls of 1. Think about that in the Hallowed Martyrs. You're now hitting on 2s, rerolling hit rolls of 1, with no stratagem spent. Yeah. So, let's think. She's probably B tier. She's very good in the Army of Faith because the Army of Faith wants a lot of command points. Hallowed Martyrs doesn't need as many. Champions of Faith, it's nice to have, certainly. Bringers of Flame doesn't need so many. That very much relies on the detachment roll. Ah, thank you, Super Ray Ray again. Thank you. I bought one just for the pulpit. Yeah, nice preacher diorama. You could put any model on top of the pulpit. It's going to be recognized as Junith. She comes with 2 bases, if I remember. Like 2 different size bases. So you've got to look at the base size guide, which is part of the tournament companion, to see which base Games Workshop currently recommends. Thank you. What else we got? Heavy Flamer. You got a Heavy Flamer. It's a nice Heavy Flamer. Twin linked. D6 shots. Good. Nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't say, oh, let's do something crazy and put her with Retributors and have 5 Flamers going around. She would get the benefit of like the reroll hit rolls of 1 and the +1 to wound. I'm pretty sure that's how the Retributor's ability works. Not like these models. No, it's just a model in the unit that makes a range attack. I mean, it's not the craziest idea. We've seen crazier. We've seen crazier tonight. I don't recommend it though. You're not really keeping the Retributors alive that much longer. Now, so she can generate a command point, but the Canoness guarantees cheaper stratagems and multiple times. I think that's the only reason that I would say we have... Yeah, we'll put Junith in B tier. Yep, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 units left. That's quite a few units. So, ooh, okay. If anyone wants help with their own personal army list, what to buy next, what to paint in certain ways, how the lore works of Battle Sisters, I have a one-to-one coaching that can be on any of those things. It's available, it does cost money because I don't want to be overwhelmed with requests, and found just putting a small price tag on it means it goes from like 100 requests a month to like 15 requests a month, a very manageable amount. So at the Ko-fi link in the description, it's one-to-one coaching. It's like 20 quid. And that gives you like an hour-ish, like including background prep, to make sure that what you think may be a bad army list can actually work. 60 Battle Sisters sounds stupid, but I made it work. Who we got next? She's mounted, not a vehicle. Yeah. Right, yeah. Someone else's thing. What's the thoughts on Vahl in a 1,000-point list? Yeah. Okay. The problem then is you're spending a lot of points, assuming you're putting with Paragon Warsuits, which you should. That's an awful lot of points in one place. That's something the enemy can just ignore, and you will not have enough units to score victory points. Or it can be really oppressive and they move around really quickly and crush everything. It can go one of 2 ways. So it's at your own risk. either of losing friendships or not winning the game, so I probably would say don't use Vahl in 1,000 points. Yeah, only Ganon's right about the Dominions. I would say Stormbolters with Astra and Agatha, otherwise Meltaguns. Ephriel Stern? Yeah, we do Ephriel Stern. Ephriel Stern. That is the Demonifuge. Demonifuge. There we are. Ephriel Stern. There she is. With Ablative Elf. Spare person. Carrying a meat shield. So she has Deep Strike. That's a pretty cheap unit for secondaries. A much smaller footprint than 5 Zephyrim or 5 Seraphim. You can drop her in where need be and do Sabotage in the enemy deployment zone. Do Establish Locus. Do behind enemy lines. Why not? Against Chaos units especially, her precision is really good. Ephriel Stern works rather well. She's not jump pack, so doesn't do great in the Army of Faith. She's good against Chaos units, but really, really good in the Hallowed Martyrs. You can use Suffering and Sacrifice. She has free heroic intervention. Jump her into combat, protect Repentia. Then hold up Kaiganil to be smashed. With Suffering and Sacrifice, all the attacks go onto that unit. Even if Ephriel Stern dies, you have Divine Guidance to bring her back. Jump Canoness is a little bit cheaper. But Hallowed Martyrs is where I'd put her. She's basically just less cool Celestine. Potentially, yes. That's one way of thinking about her. Yeah, she's a great candidate for the you're going to hit me and only me and take my body and yeah, the whole darkness thing. Darkness from Konosuba. I'm going to put her in B tier. Useful in quite a few detachments, just generally useful. Especially good in the Hallowed Martyrs. So if you're playing Hallowed Martyrs, I recommend having her. The Hallowed Martyrs likes a lot of characters. I mean, the Hallowed Martyrs, because of that resurrection stratagem, did you know that is something that you can do on our big leader, our Lord of Terror? Big lady in big armor with big spear. Her. This lady. Morvenn Vahl. Yeah, she's the yeah. Hades. This Demonifuge is the she's not a psyker kind of person. She has a kind of strike thing, but yeah. We can do mortal wounds. It's not in the psychic phase, even when that was a thing in 9th edition. Ephriel Stern is darkness from Konosuba. Yeah, okay, good. It gives you a better way of thinking about her. I mean, she can potentially hit things with precision and anti-chaos, but if it's not chaos, and maybe you can go for a character, but maybe not. Morvenn Vahl, right. So, very good character. We want to have a Morvenn Vahl. You almost always want to have a Morvenn Vahl in your army. I'm just going to put her in A tier for now. Yeah, Darkness would have weapon skill 6+. So, Morvenn Vahl. She is part of why the Hallowed Martyrs and the Champions of Faith are doing so well. She is a Paragon Warsuit leader. Does she have the Paragon Warsuit keyword by herself? Don't think she does. Oh, no, she doesn't. Okay. So you need to have her with Paragon Warsuits, which is what you're doing, because only while leading a unit do you get full rerolls to hit, full rerolls to wound. That works on combat weapons, shooting weapons, all of them. It's great. And in the Hallowed Martyrs, oh, you've lost a Battle Sister. Great, you're now hitting on a 2+ with the Paragon Warsuits and rerolling those hit rolls. In the Champions of Faith, you can make them righteous. Then they hit on a 2+, you don't need to lose anyone. Very good. When she hits people with the Lance of Illumination, you get some Miracle Dice. You need to kill a unit with her specifically. Her attacks. It's either Fidelis. Well, just her attacks. Yeah. She has to be the one that destroys the unit. An enemy unit destroyed by this model. So if a Paragon Warsuit unit is the one that destroys an enemy unit, that isn't an extra Miracle Dice. So, she's good. She's very, very good. And can get back up with Divine Intervention. In the Hallowed Martyrs, if you have her set up again with 3 wounds, that is below half strength. Her bodyguard's going to be destroyed by then, all the Paragon Warsuits. Then you have Morvenn Vahl with +1 to hit, hitting on a 2+ anyway, and +1 to wound on all of her guns. Very nice. But what she does most is she makes the Paragon Warsuits deal a lot of damage. Paragon Warsuits are like our main damage dealer. They're especially good at taking out monsters and vehicles. What does the rest of the army struggle with? Monsters and vehicles. The Paragon Warsuits give you +1 to hit and +1 to wound against those monsters and vehicles. You don't need the Hallowed Martyr stuff for that. You don't need the Champions of Faith +1 ballistic skill. Any detachment will want Paragon Warsuits to deal with those things. Even the Penitent Host, especially the Penitent Host. Repentia are dealing with heavy infantry. Arco-flagellants are dealing with light infantry. The Paragon Warsuits need to be there to take out the big things. These are a lot like Terminators. Let's not call them Centurions. Let's not insult them in that way. But they're packing multi-melters and missiles, so if you were to compare them to Centurions, they're better than Centurions. You want to have them with Morvenn Vahl, but they work okay without Morvenn Vahl. If you're going to have a unit without Morvenn Vahl, I would say only do it in the Champions of Faith. Okay? Because in the Champions of Faith, you can make them righteous. You're hitting on a 2+, or you're getting +1 to hit if you go for the right target. Heavy infantry will still die very nastily. What you need to do is keep them safe. Always keep them safe. They are surprisingly fragile because their stat line, despite them being vehicles and they are able to shoot while in combat, they're like a Terminator. They're just a slightly tougher, wounded on a 5+ by common strength 4 things. Oh wait, that's exactly the same as the Terminator. Heavy bolters are okay. Heavy bolters with +1 to hit and +1 to wound is valuable against light vehicles like the Dark Eldar. But please just have multi-melters. Move closer, stay in cover, and then strike on like turn 2, turn 3. Not every tournament list has Paragon Warsuits, but they crop up a lot with Morvenn Vahl. Let me just track. Retributors also have the same buffs against all targets. No, the Retributors don't have +1 to hit and wound unless the enemy has destroyed one of your units. That's going to be some very specific things. Yeah, probably big tanks. Yes. But Retributors move 6 inches. Paragon Warsuits move 8 inches. 9 inches in the Champions of Faith when made righteous. Real penitent gamer kills knights with Repentia. Well, yeah, but what if there's 2 knights? And in an enemy knight army, there's going to be 2 knights. So you can kill 2 at the same time. For some reason, me saying Centurions has triggered the Pauls. Well, yeah. Have I recovered from the game? I mean, that was 2 weeks ago that we filmed it. Yeah, because it's been like 2 weeks since the balance patch. I'd win for real. More units of Repentia. Well, only one of them can have the Palatine. So only one of them's getting criticals on a 5+. At best, heavy bolters on modifiers, flamers on penitent engines, warsuits get multi-melters. I think that's right. Yeah. Multi-melters are sort of the closest we have to anti-vehicle units, anti-vehicle weapons. You're usually wounding on a 4 or a 5. With the Paragon Warsuit's ability of +1 to hit and wound against monsters and vehicles, now you're getting a decent roll. And don't forget those missiles. The Paragon Grenade Launchers. Strength 9, same as the multi-melters. AP -2 rather than AP -4, D3 damage instead of D6 damage. Twin linked though. They're twin linked. So as long as you hit, which you're hitting on a 2+, enemy vehicles are wounded now on a 3+, which you can reroll because you're twin linked. This is why a unit of Paragon Warsuits can work without Vahl. Vahl cannot work without Paragon Warsuits. Not really well, unless you could have at 1,000 points, but at 1,000 points, a couple of Mortifiers or Penitent Engines will do the similar job of being big and distracting and pretty good in combat. Because you're not getting Vahl's rerolls when she's by herself. So I prefer Paragon Warsuits to just Vahl. Anyway, these are an A tier unit. Yeah. Have them in like all of your detachments. Bringers of Flame, they can advance and shoot. Wonderful. You have decent combat weapons as well. You have the Warblade, which is damage 2. You have the War Mace, which is damage 3. If you can boost that AP up from AP -1, great. Although, if there's an enemy invulnerable save, AP -1, AP -2 is usually all you need. Because then you're hitting that invulnerable save. 3+, 4+, AP -1 is perfectly fine. And Strength 12, there's our one weapon that is more than Strength 10, a Strength 12 Paragon War Mace. Oh. Okay, we have several units left. What about Sister Superior Aveline? So she's in Legends, and if you look in the Adepta Sororitas Legend document, she's not in there. She is in a separate document, the Black Library special just for her document. She's a character with Lone Operative. Great. She's slightly cheaper than Death Cult Assassins, who are also Lone Operatives. I think I've had one go at using her rerolls to hit and wound. Didn't really matter. She is not designed for combat. When you have Celestine Superior? Celestine Sacrosant Superior? Aveline. Our lass Aveline. Nice model. Very nice model. Maybe won't last more than an edition or two. But pretty nice. Can always use her as a stand-in for a character like a Canoness, or use her as a unit champion in the future. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, if you missed the Retributor bit, they finally get the points level I want with a special rule that's the best they've ever had. They are now usable. Yeah. Is the book any good? I read it and I thought this was a perfectly fine book. It is okay. It's Battle Sisters fighting and dying, and she helps out Skitari and Scions. Or that may have been a short story she was in. Yeah, she's fighting demon engines and a demon world. It's alright. It's perfectly fine. I would recommend more like the Book of Martyrs. That is a much better Battle Sister book. Okay, Battle Sisters fighting and dying is every Battle Sister book. I know. I wish they wouldn't just, like, embrace the martyrdom so much. Yeah. I know it's our thing, but yeah. I think she's A tier or B tier. Lone Operative, she's there, she's by herself. That can be gotten around just by getting close, and she doesn't last very long when she gets hit. She has 4 wounds, which is nice. 6 up, feel no pain. Hey, maybe you get lucky. She's not doing a great deal. I think you're perfectly fine with other things, like 2 Death Cult Assassins, then she can't be taken out by 1 las cannon shot. A Canoness also does the job fine if you want someone just wandering around. So, Death Cult Assassins. We're talking about Death Cult Assassins. Whoop. Death. Okay, everything in my notes says death. This is, of course, a Warhammer reference. Death Cult Assassins are assassins. Good, yes. They have Lone Operative. They are perfect for missions more than assassination missions. They can hold objectives out in the open unless the enemy gets close, in which case they die. But they're not going to get casually shot off to like stop an action. If you're able to take out the enemy on one flank, they can then hold objectives on that flank. They're also pretty good for just sitting on the home objective. Great, denies enemy deep strike. Enemies can't shoot you with indirect fire weapons. Very good. They can infiltrate. As infiltrators, they can stop enemy infiltrators. They are cheaper than Novitiates, because Novitiates are 100 points for 10 models. The Assassins are 55 points for like a squad. You can have the 2 squads of Novitiates that are like 50 points for 5, but then you need the Immolator. That's like calculating the different points values. You can try and assassinate people with the assassins. You might get lucky and hurt a character. Things like demon princes are still characters. You can reroll wound rolls against them. I think they're going to be a, at most, B tier unit. Avaline is a bit cheaper, also lone operative, but you can only have one Avaline. Crusaders to hold objectives and things are still cheaper. Arco-flagellants, 3 Arco-flagellants are cheaper as the other, obvious objective controller, objective sitter that isn't a Battle Sister squad. So, yeah, B tier. Yes, what do we got? It's nice when the Sororitas are actually elite infantry squads going in to deal with something rather than, okay girls, it's our second mission, you've lived long enough. Time to become martyrs. Thoughts on our Pilgrims of Fire Sisters book. Now, have I read that as an audiobook? Pilgrims of Fire. Let me jog my memory. What happens in that? It's not got the best reviews. It's not like immediately in my mind. It's a few years old. Yeah, I must have listened to it as an ebook. It was okay. The best I can say is okay. It's about the fall of Cadia. And like a sister trying to stay alive to be useful. If I remember. It's like the dying at the right time for the sisters. There was no like standout characters. Was Celestine in it? I don't remember it being in it. It's okay. It's got like average reviews. It's perfectly fine. I think it was fine. But you would recommend it? Hey, if you want more Battle Sister stuff, it works. Like a Simpsons army. Frontline martyr, frontline martyr, frontline martyr. Yes, yes. Everyone's a frontline infantry martyr. Alright, next unit. Give me another unit. We have these ones left. That you can see along the bottom. Battle Sisters, Crusaders, Rhino, Immolator, Repressor, the Priest, the Triumph of St. Catherine, and the Sanctifiers. And I think this time I got every unit. There's none missing. Yeah, we've done all them. Done the Demonifuge. Done Junith, done Morvenn Vahl. Done the Battle Sanctum. Yeah, we're good, we're good. The Rhino. Great. Yeah. Let's go with the Rhino. Rhino. If you like ebooks, they work well as ebooks. Like hit and miss with ebooks. If I just like stop paying attention for a moment, it's already moved on without me. Whereas with a regular book, I can just go back and reread the line. No, it's fine. The Rhino is fine. I wouldn't worry about the old kit. I'm also aware that people are spreading rumors online being like, oh, there's potentially a new Rhino in one of the Christmas boxes. Therefore, they're going to redo the Rhino box. I don't think they will. I think they'll be happy to keep selling the same Rhino. The reason being, the current Rhino is sold to like 12 different factions. All of the Space Marines want them. The Adeptus Custodes can have them for the Sisters of Silence. The Death Watch can have them. The Chaos Space Marine units, armies, they can all have them. The Battle Sisters can have them. The Imperial Agents can have Rhinos. Everyone and their mother can have a Rhino. So I think they're going to stick with the Rhino. They already have a Space Marine-y kind of Rhino anyway. The Impulsors kind of Rhino-y. Sort of for the Primaris Marines. And you still have the Rhino for the tactical squads. Rhino's good. I think we'll have the Rhino stick around. Sororitas Rhino. Where's my Rhino? Rhino, okay. Well, it's the cheapest transport. which is a great way to get into combat, to get close to shooting, especially in the Bringers of Flame, then we're not spending any command points on rapid ingress. Repentia like them. Retributors could go in them. You have a firing deck. You don't have a firing deck in an Immolator. This is another reason to put the Retributors in a Rhino, not the more expensive Immolator. You want to split units with the Immolator, you don't need to do that with the Rhino. You have a firing deck, so you've got 2 multi-melters firing from the top of the Rhino. You can fit more than 1 unit in the transport. Carry 3 Arco-flagellants or Crusaders or a character in there that you want to drop off on an objective and complete a mission. The rest of the army keeps pushing forward. You get your short-range guns into the enemy. This is how Bringers of Flame work. Rhino is great in Bringers of Flame. You usually have to use the vehicles to make that vehicle detachment work now. The Stormbolter on the Rhino is only damage 1, whereas Stormbolters are damage 2 almost anywhere else. The Rhino is cheap. The Rhino is good. It doesn't die to small arms. It can complete primary and secondary missions. It's a unit. It's good for them. When I was playing the Bringers of Flame, I would have the unit that was inside get out and control an objective and shoot a thing. The Rhino would complete an action on the objective. Or the Rhino is a great thing to just block the enemy because of its size. Now it's in the way. Oh, you're going to get your unit through that alleyway? No, you're not. There's a Rhino there now. Thank you for the happy birthday messages. Do they cost more than the Chaos one? I don't think so. It's basically an upgrade sprue that's different. Oh, they do cost more, you reckon? That is pink tax, yeah. If you don't know what the pink tax is because it doesn't apply to your country or you haven't heard it before, it's the idea that anything that is designed for women costs extra money. So it's the idea of, oh, a razor blade for men, it's £5. Oh, a razor blade for women, for the women's legs. Oh, we must design a totally new blade for that. And it now costs more money because it's pink. And you can tell it's for women because it's pink. That being the colour associated with women in this, like, half century. It used to be blue. Blue was the women's colour. And then red and pink were the boys' colours. Well, pink for boys, red for men. Yes. Right, I think the Rhino is an A-tier unit. They do a lot in all the detachments. Penitent Host gets units there. It's the key thing in the Bringers of Flame. I'm not opposed to one in the Army of Faith or the Champions of Faith. The Of Faith detachments. They can still block and complete actions, and they're cheap enough to do so and not get casually shot out the way by light arms fire the way any other battle sister is. Yeah, being versatile with your Immolators is another way to do it. Do I stream on Twitch or only YouTube? I have a Twitch channel, I don't really use it. I know people are like, oh, we can multi-stream, but I would get like 1 viewer over on Twitch and, well, like we can see here, 100 people on YouTube. So I just stick with YouTube, and I'm happy to get money through YouTube or through that Ko-fi link in the description. Yay! Damn, they're charging you for flower patterns nowadays. Okay, let's do, I suppose, another vehicle. So let's do the Immolator. The Immolator has a similar role. Yeah, they can still do actions. They can still get in the way. Good for blocking to stop enemies getting to the unit that just got out. The value of the Immolator is in the units it splits. If you can split a unit, you get 2 units. That means that when they each die, you get a miracle dice from each of them. That's turning 2 units into 3 units. That's turning 2 miracle dice into 3 miracle dice. It's more units to do actions. It's more units to get in the way of the enemy. Sometimes you have to do that as the Adepta Sororitas. It can't all be, okay, here's my Morvenn Vahl Paragon Warsuit block, here's my Celestine Sacrosant block. You've got to have a lot of regular sisters going around doing the actual missions to complete it so you win the game. Yeah, splitting units is great for the Dominions especially, because then the Dominion with the Simulacra Imperialis can stay on an objective, like your home objective, and keep trying to generate miracle dice. You roll a d6. On a 1 to 3 you get nothing, on a 4 you get a 4, on a 5 you get a 5, on a 6 you get a 6 as a miracle dice. The other half are the ones with the special weapons. They can move in the Immolator Now the Immolator Scouts, because they have Scout, they can jump out when required and melt an enemy. Very good in the Bringers of Flame. Very good generally. They're great for splitting and transporting Dominions. Now you have a Palatine with Dominions in the Immolator. The other Dominions are infiltrating. They're blocking enemy infiltrators. They're potentially getting Miracle Ice. They're potentially completing missions at the start of the game. I try and have them infiltrate towards the center of the board. There are more missions about the center of the board than like the side objectives in No Man's Land. Depends if you're playing like Crusade missions as well. Right. Oh yeah, you characters. Characters can confuse people. So you split a unit before the game starts, promising to put half of them in the Immolator. Then you attach characters. You can have a character to each of the units. You have to split the unit 5 and 5, and you can only split Sisters, Dominions, and Novitiates. It's all there in the Immolator rules, but people miss it, or forget it, or think there's ways around it, and there isn't. This means that Astra and Agatha cannot go in an Immolator because you do not split Astra and Agatha by the Immolator. You split a Dominion squad into 2 squads of 5, then you add Astra and Agatha. That can't go with the Dominions in the Immolator because that's 5 plus 2, which is more than 6. Am I doing too many math numbers for you right now? Is that too many numbers to cope with? Right, Immolator also removes cover. That's a great ability to have. If we want to have anything that's AP-1, we stay at AP-1 against those enemies. Combines with the Castigator pretty well. Ignores cover for the Exorcist. Exorcist would be -1 AP if firing indirectly because enemies always get the benefit of cover. You can remove that. You have Heavy Flamers to auto-hit and provide that, or you got Multi-Melters. They're Twin-Link Multi-Melters. You get to reroll the wound rolls. Good, let's do that one. Yeah. I kind of wish that... I mean, we don't need like 3 different Immolator profiles depending on if it has Heavy Bolters, Heavy Flamers, or Multi-Melters. But I just wish the guns had different point cost. As they don't, Immolation Flamers are pretty good. Nice guns. Multi-Melters work best. You can hit with the Heavy Bolter. Don't forget the basic Heavy Bolter. They all have a Heavy Bolter in the front, and that Heavy Bolter can be the one that provides the Purge and Cleanse ability. You just need to hit with one thing. That could even be a Hunter-Killer Missile. Don't be silly, you know you're going to roll a 1. You can't have... No, you can't have a Storm Bolter because the big turret takes up the turret part. Immolation Flamers are nice for Overwatch, yeah? Yeah? Vehicles do have different roles. There's the one that looks like a Predator and a Lehman Russ had a creepy malformed child. There's the one with the stained glass, there's the one with the church organ, and then there's the naked one, the bear one. Immolator Heavy Flamers are... Well, the Immolation Flamers are 18-inch range. Yes, they are. Very nice. It is good for Overwatch. It's an A-tier unit. It does like 3 cool things. It transports units, it splits units, it removes cover. Yeah, you can use at least 2 of those in any one game. Plus it's a tank. It's a toughness 9, 10 tank, toughness 10 tank, so it's a little bit tougher than the Rhino, because the Rhino is toughness 9, and it has 1 extra wound, so it can be harder to take out. It's just a problem of, I'd love to have transport capacity 10, but we can't have both, of course. We can't split a unit and also have transport capacity 10. Right, the Repressor. Repressor. Ooh, are we going for C tier? It's a Bringers of Flame transport, it's good, it's an expensive transport, especially when you compare it to the Immolator or the Rhino. So the Immolator is 115 points, the Rhino's 75 points, the Repressor comes in at 130 points. More expensive than an Immolator. You probably want to just use this as an Immolator. You get 1 more wound compared to an Immolator, but otherwise I would just have an Immolator. It can fit... how many models can it fit? 12. 12 models. It can fit 12 models. Has firing deck 6. Immolators don't have firing deck. Repressor has a firing deck. You could fire Dominions, melter guns from inside. Dominions would be great because then you can scout with it. That used to be the great tactic. Repressor scouts. Everyone inside shoots. Dominions keep going. Yeah, you don't even need to get them out. But if you did get them out, remember the Dominions have their own reactive move, Righteous Awareness, to get back inside. If the enemy wanted to charge you, maybe, well, if the enemy moved close to you in the movement phase, or if the enemy tried to charge you, then you can pick them, they get back inside the Repressor. Oh dear, the charge fails. You have quite a few guns, Repressor Twin Heavy Flamer, which is only 12-inch range. You can have an extra Heavy Flamer. Good. And you've also got a Hunter Killer Missile. You've got some Flamers. It's fine, it's nice. It already has a Storm Bolter as well. Yeah, it's not great in combat. It's an okay tank. It does the crazy thing of having 2 different shots. No, it's got twin. This one's got twin linked heavy flamer. Oh yeah, the Immolator's flamer is the one that's like. What was that? The Immolation flamers. Yeah, they're 2d6 rather than d6 twin linked. The Repressors are d6 twin linked. I would go for more shots when it comes to flamers. Twin linked is more what I want on the multi melters. You're getting 2 shots anyway, which is pretty good. Super Ray, what orders are my minis painted up as? I may have some black ones, which could be whatever. They're more ones that need painting. I have my own order, which is very similar to the Sacred Rose. So my sisters are white armor with red robes, whereas the Sacred Rose is white armor with black. The black and white contrast is okay. I don't like the bolt guns and the robes on the Sacred Rose are both black. So I have black guns and I have red robes. At some point in the next 2 months, I'll do a video about my order. Again. Because I think I've done one in the past. They like drop pods. Drop cathedrals even, mayhaps. If we mayhaps had that. Good. Good. I don't know about making my own rules for them. Nah, we've got plenty of detachments. And the way detachments work this edition is quite nice. You don't need to make your own detachment just to fit the lore and things. You can make the versatile detachments work for you. Army of Faith in this case. I like the -1 to hit. I like the survivability. Unless there's going to be something crazy where it's like, oh yeah, you get mass infiltrate or mass scout. Then that would suit them more. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things left. Let's do the Crusaders. I'm pretty sure the Crusaders want to go straight up into A tier. Right, these are 2 wound Celestine Sacrosants essentially, but they also have 2 damage swords. It's like they've got Space Marine power swords. Now, don't make me a liar. Yeah, damage 2 swords. That's the sort of thing you get from like Blade Guard. Crusaders are pretty good. They're 20 points each. We're still cheaper than Blade Guard. That's nice. 4+ feel no pain against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. Good. You can attach them to any unit that can be led by... that can be attached to a Battle Sister squad. So you can have them with a 2+ save within a Magifier. You can heal them up with a Hospitaller. You can have a Canoness taking them into battle. It's 2 or 4 of them. There's no longer 6. But 2 is usually what you want. These aren't really a stabby unit. You could stick them with a Palatine just so the Palatine gets lethal hits. That's really cheap. You maybe want to attach 2 of them to the Triumph of St. Catherine. Triumph of St. Catherine can lead Battle Sisters, therefore the Triumph of St. Catherine can lead the Crusaders. That's just having some wounds that the enemy needs to get through before they can hurt the Triumph. Black armor, blue robe, silver highlights. Nice. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So many Army of Faith players, this pleases me. It's a cool detachment. Remember that people who play in tournaments are a minority of players. Yeah. You feel the Army of Faith only works at 2,000 points? You can do a couple of small Seraphim units, like small units of 5, and then you still have a lot of... you could have Junith, she works, Canoness works. You've got stratagems that are really good. -1 to hit can affect a lot of your army. Oh yeah, they did the box for it last Christmas, which was like 30 jump pack models and then an Exorcist. It's like they were saying, Christian von Carmian might like this box, but Christian von Carmian already has everything he needs that was in that box. You need to generate a lot of miracle dice to use the rule. It's 1,000 points. It's difficult to have enough units to generate them. Well, think of the stratagems. A lot of the stratagems generate you miracle dice. -1 AP, you kill an enemy model. Doesn't have to be a unit, just an enemy model, you get a miracle dice. Lance, you killed a model, you get a miracle dice. The Blade of St. Eleanor, you stabbed someone, you get a miracle dice. Yeah. That's good. That's good. There's a lot of ways to get miracle dice. And there's also the... one of the enhancements. Take a leadership test at the start of the command phase. If you pass it, get a miracle dice. Playing an army for the jump pack models. It's good. Yes. And it's versatile enough. Yeah. That Blade of St. Eleanor will give you miracle dice. Yeah. It's just a shame they don't get one per phase, no, per player turn anymore. And it's one per battle round. What else do the Crusaders do? They're a cheap bodyguard. They're a cheap objective controller. You can leave them on their home objective and scout forward with the half Dominion squad you've got and try and control that and start generating miracle dice on the central objective. Good, that's speed. Or you can have them near to the objective and you stickied it with the Battle Sisters. If there's no enemy stratagem or ability that lets them deep strike within 6 inches of you, have them stand slightly off the objective. 9 inches will still keep them off, keep enemies deep striking off the objective. They can't just land and it'll be fine. 6 inches, no, because the objective markers are 6 inches wide plus 40 millimeters. So they could land on that. Right, yeah, Crusaders are A tier, more for the cheapness than anything. Don't be discounting Legends units. I've also seen a weird thought that people are like, okay, well, Games Workshop has a small amount of time, or they don't have enough rules writers, or evidently don't have enough rules writers. If they just forgot about the Legends units, not saying they already have, but if they ignored all the Legends units and stopped doing these Black Library things and forget all of that, then they would have more time to focus on the competitive scene. And that's such a weird mindset, the idea that if we make someone have less, that will be somehow better. There's no promise that if Legends disappeared, then the tournament scene would get more focus. Remember, tournament players are a minority of players. It's wishful thinking that just because someone is worse off, that you will be better off. You will not be better off. The guaranteed thing is someone who likes Legends will be worse off. Don't wish for bad things to happen to other people in the hope of good things happening to you. Anyway, let's do the next one. 4 left. What do you want, chat? We have the Sanctifiers, we have the Minister and Priest, we have the Triumph, and we have the basic Battle Sisters. And I expect this live stream to be done by 10 PM. Black Library authors aren't on the balance team. Probably. Well, Black Library models, things like Sister Superior Aveline, is a Black Library character. Hell's Last, the Black Library model-y things. Yes. Okay, I'm going to do the Battle Sisters. So, Battle Sisters, let's just stick them up there. They're great. They can have 2 characters. They're the only unit that can have 2 characters. What other notes do I have? Right, Defenders of the Faith. Sticky objectives. Wonderful to have. We want that at 1,000 points. We want that at 2,000 points. Any game size, we want that. Sticky the home objective. Even if you're just going to leave Dominions on there, start at least 1 battle system model on that objective before you move forward. Then you have an extra thing in place just in case the Dominions get taken out by mortar fire. Something indirect. They have a Simulacrum. That gets you Miracle Dice. In different detachments, Bringers of Flame potentially, Army of Faith, if you have the right characters, these are a damage dealing unit. 105 points for 10 models. That is far more models, well, twice as many models as the Repentia, Retributors. Twice as many models as the Retributors. I know I said I wouldn't do mathematics anymore, but too bad. There's mild multiplications, 5 times 2, or 10 divided by 5. 2, yeah, that's how it works. Sticky objectives. Objective control 2. That's very useful for getting onto objectives, controlling objectives, and if an enemy unit tries to push you off the objective, you can use Miracle Dice or a Hospitaller or an Magifier to survive, and then you still control the objective. Elite enemy units tend to be smaller, and only objective control 1. There's a battle line bonus for the incursion in the 2025-2026 mission deck. You can complete actions and shoot, or complete an action after advancing if you are battle line. That's also one of the twists if you use twists. But then it works for anyone, not just the battle line units. Yeah, it's a good one. 60 Battle Sisters is something that works. Immolators can split your units, then you get more units. When they die, you get Miracle Dice. They can have units that fight, you can have units that die and control objectives and get you Miracle Dice. Yes, they're very good. We like the Battle Sisters. So they're A tier. Now I'm going to do the Triumph of St. Catherine. Ooh, yeah, this is an awkward one. I used to have the Triumph of St. Catherine just in my Penitent Host list. Then from playing it enough times, I don't need the auto-generated 6 anymore. One of the enhancements in the Penitent Host gives you a 6 of a Miracle Dice whenever one of your Penitent units destroys an enemy unit. That's fine, there's our 6 for charge rolls. We need 6s to complete charge rolls. It's nice to have the auras. There's various auras to pick from. Where are we? Where are we in the book? Triumph of St. Catherine, yeah. The one you almost certainly want is the Fiery Heart. That's the band before they became known as Our Martyred Ladies. You get 2 extra inches of movement. And you get +1 to advance and charge. Great in the Bringers of Flame. Great in the Penitent Host. We've also got 2 Acts of Faith per phase instead of 1 from the Ebon Chalice. You may want that. You may want that. Or you can just play the Army of Faith. Reroll range attacks of 1. No, reroll wound rolls on range attacks if you roll a 1. Reroll wound rolls of 1 on range attacks. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. Took a bit, but I'm getting there. Again, very useful in the Bringers of Flame because you're going to be shooting. Or you have the Petals of the Bloody Rose. That's in combat, +1 AP. Rather useful in the Penitent Host where you're pushing everything in combat. Same for Hallowed Martyrs. This is good. And this is a character. So you can use the Hallowed Martyrs stratagem of Divine Intervention to bring back the Triumph of St. Catherine. 18 wounds. Well, it'll go back to like 1 to 3 wounds when you use Divine Intervention, but 18 wounds is a lot to get through. That's like nearly twice a Battle Sister squad, but it's still 3+ save, toughness 3, so don't expect it to last longer than 2 Battle Sister squads. And you can't double up with a Triumph and a Hospitaller to try and keep it alive. You get 18 attacks that are AP -2, Strength 5, that's very good. Damage 1 is the less okay bit, but the Triumph of St. Catherine can take out enemy hordes by herself. 18 attacks at damage 2, that's better than, okay, like 3 Arco-flagellants. But it's good. It's good. You're getting better AP than that. Yeah, the movement speed buff, it's good. Yeah. Should be pointed like a Primarch. Unless like the Primarchs are less than 235 points. I don't know how many points the Lion is at the moment. Yeah, it should not be pointed that high. It's a bit much. When it came out in the Codex, it was like 190. That was a little bit too much, but 210 would be fair. The Exorcist is then 210 points, but we know the Exorcist is too many points anyway. I think we previously said Triumph. Where we put the Triumph in the past. It was a staple of armies after the Codex launch, but has gone down. Remember, its auras also affect itself, so it can make itself reroll... No, it can give itself an extra AP in combat, so it's AP -3. I will once again let the chat decide. Triumph. Are we A tier because we're taking it in every detachment? And a lot of the time. Is it B tier? Like, it's good, it's a good choice. What else do we say about B tier? Can we add... I'll put all 4 options. Okay, there's our 4 options. Can't see why you would take it in a list apart from Penitent Host. Yeah, it's understandable. I used to take it just in Penitent Host after its points went up. Yeah, A tier is a great choice universally. B is good, but other units do a similar job for better or cheaper. Joke's on you, I'm an uninformed voter. Wonderful, yep. C tier is they work well in one detachment. You only want to use them in one detachment. D tier is where you struggle to get a points appropriate use from them anywhere. They're pretty good in the Bringers of Flame. They're pretty good in the Penitent Host. I'm happy to put them in C tier. Alright. There we go. So that leaves us with the Ministorum Priest and the Sanctifiers. Do you want the leader of the Sanctifiers first, or the Sanctifiers themselves? Thank you, Squid. Thank you very much. The Priest. Okay. Now, I said we'll end the live stream at 10 o'clock. We've only got the 2 more units to do, and I may end up a little bit earlier than that if need be. If anyone wants to give last-minute birthday monies, or say happy birthday, those 2 things are both very much welcome. To give money the best way, it's through the Ko-fi link in the description. Then it'll pop up on screen, and also in the sidebar, and that gives me the money directly. Otherwise it goes through YouTube, which is fine if you want to just... If it's easier for you to give through YouTube, do so. Right, and I'll do the Priest. Okay, we'll let him rest in D tier for the moment. Ministorum Priest. They were amazing in the Index when you could put them with the Arco-flagellants, and Arco-flagellants were just extra amazing. You can have the Ministorum Priest work in a lot of detachments. You don't need to just have them in the Penitent Host where they carry enhancements that you attach to, like Arco-flagellants. Can you attach them to Repentia? No, you can't attach them to Repentia. No one can attach to Repentia, except with the one enhancement in the Penitent Host. +1 to wound is very good. You need the right combat unit, and I don't think Ministorum Priests can join the Celestine Sacrosants. It's Dominions, Battle Sisters, Arco-flagellants, Novitiates, Sanctifiers, or Crusaders. We're okay not putting them with Crusaders. We're not taking them for combat. Sanctifiers, yeah, it's alright. Then you get +1 to hit, and you also get sustained hits 1, because that's a Sanctifier special rule. When you're led by a Ministorum Priest, you get sustained hits 1, but only when led by a Ministorum Priest. They're not really a combat unit anyway. You don't need that. Novitiates want to just be by themselves or with a Palatine. More for the Palatine than the Novitiates. With a Dominion, you've got a Flamer and a little bit of combat power. With Battle Sisters, you've got a Flamer and a little bit of combat power, but I would take a Palatine or a Canoness instead. So Arco-flagellants are the place to put them. +1 to wound. Arco-flagellants, well, we've got strength 5. You're wounding a lot of things on like 3s or 4s. You can push that to 2s. Ooh, pretty good, pretty good. Thank you, Hadius. Thank you. We have... They're okay. They're okay, the +1 to hit, +1 to wound is pretty good. I'm finding more and more, as I've been playing a lot more Penitent Host, no particular reason of course, then I don't need that +1 to wound. I can shred through enemy infantry without it. When I have Arco-flagellants, when they're doing their job, when they're hitting the right enemy. And if they're not hitting the right enemy, +1 to wound doesn't do a lot, because Arco-flagellants are AP 0. And 1 damage. You're not going to be cutting through tanks with that. There's no way to get them devastating wounds. You can be 1 extra Flamer in the Sanctifiers, I think they've dropped a bit for me, these Minister and Priests. You can have them operate alone. They can work alone. They have a 4+ invulnerable save. Toughness 3, same as any other sister, but then they lose out to the Canoness on that. It may just be as enhancement carriers that I now take them. So I think I'm putting them in C tier or the Penitent Host. If anyone's had great success with the Minister and Priests outside of the Penitent Host, maybe in Hallowed Martyrs? Maybe? But I'm not really seeing what you're getting there that you particularly need. Because Arco-flagellants are good enough already. Right, and the final one, the Sanctifiers. Sanctifiers, defying sanctity. They have a lot of fire. They do a lot of Overwatch pretty well. You can have like 8 torrent weapons, 2 of them are one-shot only. But they're pretty good. That's a, oh yeah, you came towards me, burn. Burn. If you like fire, this is your good flamer unit. And they've taken over being a flamer unit for my Dominions, who, well, I used to take a flamer unit of Dominions. Now if I want flamers, I'll take Sanctifiers. They scout? Pretty sure they scout. Yep, scout 6 inches. They also have a Salvationist, so if the unit isn't wiped out, you can bring back D3 models. That's pretty good. Thank you for the nearly £1. Thank you very much, Super Rare. You like the unit. Very good. Happy birthday. Have a great year of 40k. Thank you, Andris Crew. Mark, you just found my channel yesterday and you're enjoying the videos. Excellent. Was that because of the poll video or because of the Auspex video or just happened upon me? Either way, very welcome. Successful tournaments list had 2 Sanctifiers. Well, they scout. If you don't wipe them out, they can come back. They're 100 points for 9 models. That's pretty good. Thank you, Pat Best. I appreciated that comment. Yeah, no more Centurions for me. I'm good without Centurions. Thank you for the money. Did the number go up? I think the number went up. Do I need to tap the refresh button? Lovely. Okay. Well, what else we need? We don't need the priest. You don't need the priest. That's for combat units. They're not a combat unit. You would get 1 extra flamer. It's not necessary. The scouting is good. The flamers are good. You can torch away enemies because 2 of those flamers are damage 2. So you can get rid of things like Pure Strange Gene-Stealers, Space Marine Scouts. They can make them disappear. You got a plasma gun in there. It's weird because you got to have the plasma gun and the one-shot flamer, or you've got a melter gun. I would normally prefer just the melter gun. But if you're giving me 2 guns, sure, I'll take a plasma gun. And compensation for not being a melter gun. Thank you, Taco Joe. I'm glad you're all enjoying the videos. There's plenty more videos to be coming. And they have a oh yeah, they have a Simulacrum Imperialis. They can generate Miracle Eyes potentially. They're a perfectly fine unit. If you like Dominions, but you're not going to split Dominions with an Immolator, they're a great alternative. About as squishy, because they're 5+ invulnerable save rather than a 3+ save. I tend to prefer having Dominions. But then I'll give my Dominions Melter Guns. If I want Flamers, Sanctify is good. Still love to bunker Rhino with them. Hop out on Overwatch, hop out to Overwatch, and then die. Then the Retributors can come behind the Rhino. Yeah. Because the Sanctifiers have Scout. It's a good one. They are pretty good in the Bringers of Flame. You do have the 2 command point Devastating Wounds stratagem on all of their torrent weapons. Which is going to be like 6 Flamers and potentially 2 Holy Fires if you haven't already used them. And when you're becoming Brings of Flame, Cleansing Flames, Devastating Wounds, Damage 2 and Devastating Wounds goes well together. You got Scout, you can advance and shoot. Ooh, yeah, they're pretty good in the Bringers of Flame. They're generally alright. Did I put them in B tier? I put them as average. Yeah, I think they are B tier. They're doing something that Dominions do, but I like Dominions more. And Dominions have an armor save, even if the Dominions don't come back. So unless there's massive outrage, there's a nice space for them there in B tier. Okay, that's them all. That is all of the units. We are definitely on schedule. Lovely, lovely. Right, I think that's where we're going to end it. Let me vaguely spoil some videos that are coming up. No, let's not. We'll see what we get. And it also depends what other little extra things we get from other people that I may or may not be working with. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be another Paul video. People like the Paul videos. I'll drag Paul in and give him a good idea and we'll make a good video and then I'll edit the video and it'll go on the channel. Eventually all of Paul's audience will have to come to me if they want additional Paul content. I don't want to be just like Paul Channel 2 featuring Christian. But I'm also okay being Christian von Carmian brackets occasionally Paul. We have fun together. It's nice. Get Paul back and have him play Sisters? It's an idea. He will just make comments that the Paragon Warsuits are Centurions. That's how you found Paul. He was in a video and then started watching from me. Okay. So maybe the Von Carmian to Paul pipeline is more active than the Paul to Von Carmian pipeline. Interesting. He can be Christian Von Carmian channel too. Yeah, that works. I mean, I have been on his channel quite a few times. Chicken on a Raft, do you have a quick question? Of course you can ask a question. Anyone with questions can ask their questions before we go. Maybe it takes a second to type the question. Have you seen your magnets? I seem to have misplaced them. No, I don't know if I have any magnets to be going around at the moment. Might get more magnets in future. Magnets are pretty good. Magnetize the guns on the Immolator. Maybe I can motivate Paul into becoming Battle Sisters. You know, if they went to Legends next edition, and Paul keeps going to tournaments, he plays with like 2 people normally, and then he goes to quite a few tournaments, including this London Grand Tournament, then yeah, if they disappeared, he still wants to be the Centurion person. He's either going to really have to accept Legends and get everyone else to accept Legends. Good, the plan is working, send them to Legends. Or he can become a sister player and get 9 Paragon Warsuits. Oh yeah, modifiers, pendant engines. That can work. Are Battle Sisters easy to magnetize? No, not really. You need really tiny magnets. Not all of the basic Battle Sister squad's arms are at the same point. If the gap is between the glove and the wrist, or like the forearm and the wrist, forearm and the glove, then it's fine. Sometimes the gap is like in the hole where, like at the shoulder or down at the elbow. It's in awkward places each time. Not easy to swap out, usually. Yeah, there's also the heavy weapons can be attached to backpacks. So then you've got to swap out the backpack, like for the heavy bolter or the heavy flamer. So they're really not easy to magnetize. Immolator's alright. Oh, the Castigator for the turret weapon, very easy to magnetize. But not the basic Battle Sisters, not at all. I don't think there's anything else that really needs magnetizing. Annoyingly, the Battle Sisters have some of the worst models to put together. Really bad. And you drop them and it shatters into 500 pieces and you're like, I wish I had dropped a vase. It would have been easier to find all the bits and put them back together. Rhinos are probably the easiest to put together because they're such an old kit. The Sacrosants, you may be able to get away with magnetizing the arms, like swapping the halberds or the mauls. The poses might be a bit awkward. Well, like, visually awkward. Like, oh yeah, this model looks really good with a maul pose, but they don't look so good with the halberd. But they can be magnetized. They're one of the better ones to magnetize. Paragon warsuits, their guns can be magnetized. I don't know about magnetizing the weapons, like the hand weapon, the sword, or the maul. You can do it, but the Paragon warsuits are such an awful kit to build in themselves. Didn't have fun with them. No. Retributors, just built in with multi-melters. Use all the multi-melters you've got. And the Seraphim are also really not easy to magnetize, switching between the hand flamers or the Inferno pistols. They at least all magnetize at the shoulder. So it's better than the Battle Sisters. And the Novitiates you can pretty much throw on whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. They're not in Kill Team's non-competitive version anymore. Vahl is a Centurion. Yeah, there we go. Vahl is the Centurion chapter master that Paul already wanted. Allied armigers? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Seraphim number 5. Yeah. There's always one awkward Seraphim. And they don't look the best. I have complaints about the models. I like the old metal models. I think they're really good. But yeah. Oh yeah, you get like usually one extra stand on your jump pack models. If you broke a Zephyrim flight stand, I would pose the model on the flat base, like by the foot or something, or a bit of debris, a bit of sprue, a spare bit of sprue, stick that onto the base, then attach the Zephyrim by a foot to that sprue. It'll work. Essentially, tactical rock. Yes. Seraphim number 5. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. That is where we, at least for me, it's definitely a round hour, wherever you are in the world. So, that is where we end it. Thank you very much for the birthday monies. I've had a fun birthday stream. I hope you've enjoyed your Battle Sister talk. And then I hope you have a great day of 40k.